Hello, your channel Eugene Light Novels greets you. I hope you are enjoying these beautiful novels. Now, let's continue with the novel, Pirate, the six-eyed NOU, am the strongest when I'm on top and cut in half. First part. Chapter 1. A revolving door at the beginning? Are you the strongest? Handsome guy's brain storage place. Beautiful brain storage place. In addition, I want to open Gundam for Egu and put it here. East China Sea. This is the weakest part of the ocean. Kurosawa walked towards the port with a smile on his face. There was a good harvest of fish today. Rimuru and the boss lady will definitely be very happy when they see me carrying so many fish back. Thinking of that healing smile, Kurosawa felt warm in his heart. But Rimuru has really grown up. Kurosawa vaguely remembered the amazing elasticity of the feedback from his palms, and couldn't help but blush. Damn it! What was I thinking? That was the daughter of his great benefactor Kurosawa. When he was living on this island before, if it weren't for Rimuru and the landlady, he would have starved to death on the streets. Kurosawa had nothing to offer in return, so he had no choice but to agree with him. Yes, that's it, that's right. Kurosawa secretly made up his mind that in order to prolong his happy life in the future, he would simply do 200 more push-ups tonight. It has been 2 months since Kurosawa traveled through time. After he first figured out that this was a pirate world full of monsters, he originally wanted to continue to mess around, but Rimuru and the landlady were surprisingly kind to him. As an outstanding young man who has perfectly inherited the ideological education and moral conscience of the flower growers, even without a system, he, Kurosawa, must also protect him with all his strength. Developed 8-pack abs and shark lines in 2 months. The holy body of a congenitally thin man is so terrifying. Isn't that guy damn Kurosawa? Why does he please the girls so much? That's right. He just has an extremely handsome face, a slightly scalloped face, his legs are a bit long, and he has a very good figure. A pretty boy like this would be so scared that he wets his pants when he meets a pirate and then gets stabbed to death. That's right. I don't know what the use is of exercising every day. When Laozi eats a devil fruit one day, he will become famous all over the world. Do you still need to exercise? Exercise like shit. Ha. A sound came from behind, and several skinny men were leaning on each other, looking at Kurosawa with extremely disdainful eyes. Kurosawa was too lazy to pay attention to them. Eating a devil fruit makes you invincible? How stupid. When they spend all Bailey in the tavern, Kurosawa will teach them in minutes that they are not allowed to enter the tavern with the left foot first, and idiots and dogs are not allowed in. Kurosawa ignored him and several people screamed enthusiastically. Just this kind of stuff has mesmerized the daughter of the tavern proprietress. I think a man like this can only pretend to be a facade. If a real crisis comes, I'm afraid he won't be the first to run away. Let me tell you, Rimuru still needs to be protected by you, boss. On the seaside under the golden sunset, the port that used to be bustling with people now reveals an eerie silence. Pung. It's a gunshot. Kurosawa's expression changed wildly. There was a strange ship parked at the port, with a flag with a black skull hanging on it. No. It's a pirate. We need to inform Rimuru and the others to evacuate immediately. Feeling something bad, Kurosawa was about to run away, but he caught a glimpse of a dark gun barrel protruding from the corner, and quickly dodged sideways. Pung. Blood spattered, and Kurosawa felt a heartbreaking pain in his left arm, and fell heavily to the ground. This kid actually avoided the heart position? But it's all in vain. Ha. The boss is really foresight. He asked us to block here to prevent anyone from leaking the information. After controlling the armed forces at the port, the people on this island will not be at our mercy. Several pirates walked out from the side holding muskets with cruel smiles on their faces. Damn it. Go tell the boss lady to run away. The pirates are coming. Kurosawa, who fell to the ground, ignored the pain and screamed at the people holding each other's arms. However, those people had long been frightened out of their wits. It's pirates. Why are these guys here? Run. I don't want to die. MD, how dare you push lousy. The few people who had been extremely arrogant before suddenly fled in all directions, but no one headed towards the town. Seeing this scene, Kurosawa was filled with rage. Weren't you bragging just now? Now the pirates are really here and running faster than the last. Pang! Bang bang bang! Several gunshots were fired in succession, and those who ran farther died first. Jia jia! Kill all the men, and the women he he he. The grinning pirate slowly approached Kurosawa. I'll leave him to you, let's go find the boss. Boy, remember, it's me, Koski, who takes your life. Just as he was about to pull the trigger, Kurosawa's eyes suddenly froze. Relying on the powerful core strength of his hard-earned 8-pack abs, he jumped up from the ground. He used his feet as scissors to snatch the gun away, and then quickly stood up and made a beautiful strike. The uppercut knocked Koski to the ground. Kurosawa quickly picked up the gun, stood up and shot a headshot. Bang! A gunshot. The red and white objects were splattered with blood. Kurosawa was not affected. Instead, he looked coldly and raised his hand to point the black muzzle at the leaving pirates. Hoo-ho! Pressing down the severe pain in my left arm, pang! Another shot hit one of the pirates in the head. Damn untouchable. Brothers F*** K him. Several pirates came to their senses and shouted about attacking, but they immediately ran to both sides to find cover. Kurosawa took the opportunity to flip into a nearby room, gasping for air and thinking about the next countermeasures in his mind. Bang bang bang. The frightened and angry pirates fired wildly at the house, regardless of whether it was useful or not, until at a certain moment, the gunshot stopped. Out of bullets? That's it now. After noticing this, Kurosawa suddenly stuck his head out, raised his gun and was about to shoot. However, the next moment, a tall figure suddenly appeared, and his thick palm directly grasped the barrel of his gun. Under Kurosawa's horrified gaze, the barrel of the gun was crushed to pieces. Monster. Normal people can't crush a musket with one hand even if they train hard. Absolutely invincible. Looking at Kurosawa's horrified eyes, Kari was very satisfied. The latter could observe that Kurosawa's body had undergone certain training and his physical fitness was much stronger than that of his subordinates. Exercise is good, but Kari doesn't like it, so he just smiled and said, "You're just a lowly poor man. Even hard work can't bridge the gap between you and me. A waste will always be a waste." Kurosawa was about to retreat, but Kari punched him directly in the chest. Boom! Following a dull sound, Kurosawa's eyes instantly darkened, and his consciousness quickly blurred. As expected of Boss Kali, this punch directly opened a hole in this man's chest. Pfft! Kari withdrew his arm expressionlessly, threw Kurosawa to the ground, and at the same time stepped on the latter's neck. Last hitting is an excellent quality of every pirate. After doing this, Kari smiled with satisfaction. After more than 2 years of pirate experience, he judged that there would be no strong people on this island. Even young and middle-aged men only account for a small part. In other words, on this island, he, Kali, is the strongest. Ding! The host's strong dissatisfaction has been detected, and the system has been activated. Reward the newbie with a gift pack. Repairing host's body. The real voice in his mind made Kurosawa realize that this was not a fantasy before his death. Ding! The host's body has been successfully repaired. The host's current situation has been detected, and the host's first life choice has been started. Life choice 1, join the villain camp. Having experienced death, you choose to go completely dark and decide to completely destroy this ugly world and make all living beings feel pain. Reward, King of Curses, LV1. Life choice 2, join the marine camp. Having been destroyed and killed by pirates, you hate the pirates deeply and decide to personally carry out the so-called justice. My justice is justice. Kill the pirates and get the bounty value. Reward, Heaven, Defying 6 Eyes, LV1. Life choice 3, join the pirate camp. Shocked by the evil deeds of pirates, your mentality is distorted. You decide to fight violence with violence and implement the absolute blackness of human nature. Kill Marine and civilians will gain sin points. Reward, Dark Fruit, LV1. What no one knows is that at this moment, on the sea far away from the island, a huge dog-headed warship is approaching quickly, with the Justice flag flying on it. Wu Jiao Lao Master and Lao Nua both have the ability, so they are called Luyen Su Nua. Chapter 2. Remember, you are the challenger. Looking at the system panel, Kurosawa fell into thinking. The villain camp. Let's not talk about whether he can abandon the 9-year compulsory education and become a cold and ruthless killing machine. The boss's wife's kindness alone will not make him pass this test. If you join the pirate camp, not only will civilians not be allowed to kill indiscriminately, but there will also be many guys in the Marines that he recognizes. And most importantly, he has to be hunted down by Marine every day. It's annoying to think about it, and the reward is a secret fruit. This fruit is not necessary for him at present. According to the later plot, the version is updated and iterated, and the dark fruit is no longer the first choice for T0. After checking the introduction of heaven-defying 6 eyes, it is indeed similar to Gojo Satoru's 6 eyes, but the function is more heaven-defying, and after upgrade, it is equivalent to 6 eyes Infinite Potential Pro Max, Blue Sky. In this case, I choose to join the Marine camp. Ding! Congratulations to host for making the choice. Heaven-defying 6 eyes, LV1, has been distributed. As the sound of the system fell, Hazel suddenly felt his eyes cool. Even if he closed his eyes, information from nearly 100 meters around him was flooding into his brain in an instant. The texture of the board, the gravel on the ground, and the movement of wind and grass are all under your control. At the same time, a mysterious force grew in Kurosawa's body. It's mantra. It's composed of a lot of negative emotions, representing the power of the dark side, and the moves performed with mantra as the main energy are collectively called mantras, also called spells. Ding! Congratulations to host for successfully making a life choice for the first time. Reward, Spell Reversal, Tsang, LV1. Kurosawa opened his eyes, his blue pupils flashed, he opened his palms, and under the power of the curse, a ball of blue and white light danced in his palms, erupting with an astonishing suction force. Kanjia has learned the art of reversal. You are truly worthy of me. It has been detected that there is a gift package for newbies. Do you want to open it? Open. Ding! A newbie gift package has been successfully opened for host, and the physical skills, LV1, and the technical skills, LV1, have been distributed. Feeling the surge of power in his body, if he faced that guy again, Kurosawa was confident that he would be able to beat him into a humanoid shape even if he only relied on his physical body. Explanation of the technique. Just one stroke with one hand. Whoa. The flying slash full of magical power pierced the air and directly chopped off a corner of the house. Su Nua's moves are indeed good. The corners of Kurosawa's mouth curled up. The ferocious blood hole on his chest had disappeared, and his well-defined 8-pack abs were exposed under the tattered clothes. The next second, Kurosawa disappeared from the spot. Heaven-defying 6 eyes, LV1, no consumption when turned on, the total amount of mana power is greatly increased, you can use short-distance fast movement, floating, precise mana control, the waste of mana power is greatly reduced, and you can get 360 small range perception with no blind spots. Enhanced version of Luyen. Skill comments, no mana consumption is true heaven-defying. Wait for me B***************** D. Report to Lieutenant General Garp that the island ahead is suspected to be invaded by pirates. Dare to disturb my territory? Which pirates are so bold? It just so happens that my fists are a little itchy today. Garp was eating the senbei in his hand enthusiastically. Hearing this, he immediately became unhappy and flew directly to the island on the moonwalk. All my savings over the years are here, please spare my life. This is all the food I have. How can I live like this, old man? No, please let my daughter go. She is only 8 years old. The town was in chaos, with fires everywhere, the sounds of broken bottles and screams mixed together, and the previously peaceful residents had now fallen into purgatory. This is a true portrayal of the world being invaded by pirates. Pang! A pirate kicked the table over to the ground, his eyes swept over the two women in front of him wantonly, and finally stopped somewhere and laughed. Jia jia. Boss Carrie, these ladies are not only beautiful, but they also run such a tavern. Looking at the people approaching, Lilia protected her daughter behind her with a solemn face. The leader of the pirates, named Carrie, is so incredibly fast that he took care of the tavern security guards in no time. I just don't know what's going on with Kurosawa. If he goes to the port, I'm afraid. Lilia, who felt desolate in her heart, had already prepared for the worst and would never let herself and her daughter fall into the hands of these people, even if she died. You bastards! What did you do to brother Kurosawa? Rimuru behind him had tears in his eyes. Although he was very scared, he still held on to a glimmer of hope. Unexpectedly, Rimuru's actions aroused the ferocity of several pirates. Their eyes glowed with evil, and they licked their lips and said, "Oh, that Kurosawa, as long as you obey us, he will be fine." Rimuru's eyes lit up when he heard this. Really? Of course it's true, I never lie. Really? Hee, of course. Sister, wait, brother will come over and tell you. The pirate's white skin was so dazzling that he couldn't open his eyes. Just as he knelt down and prepared to lift his hand, a cold touch touched his forehead. Pang! After killing one person, the blood stained Rimuru's clothes red. With tears in her eyes and a trembling voice, she pointed the gun at Carrie. This little girl can still pretend to be weak and resist. A bloodthirsty smile appeared on Carrie's face. You damn devils! When brother Kurosawa dies, I will let you bury him with him. Her mother once told her that this distance is impossible for most people to avoid. Rimuru was about to pull the trigger. In the next second, Carrie's figure burst out with astonishing speed. He knocked the short gun away with one palm, then grabbed Rimuru's throat and picked it up. Even if you have a gun, you can't beat him. There was despair in Rimuru's eyes. Rimuru. Lilia also panicked and beat Carrie's body desperately, but the latter did not move at all, and gradually tightened her grip. Carrie stared at the pretty face that was getting pale, with a cruel smile on his face. He just liked this feeling. Watching the weak die in front of him without any resistance made him intoxicated. Boom! Several figures crashed into the house with an explosion, and the golden light of the setting sun fell immediately. A tall and thin figure floated in the air. From the neck to the body, there was still blood that had not dried up, especially the large piece of tatters on the chest of the clothes. Eye-catching. The black-haired boy reveals a mouthful of white fang. Hey, long time no see. Kurosawa. Lilia was surprised to see the visitor. Kurosawa, brother. Rimuru's darkened eyes gradually regained their brightness. Looking at Kurosawa with a smile on his face, Carrie's pupils suddenly tightened. Isn't this guy the same guy just now? He remembered clearly that he had disemboweled him and crushed his neck to pieces a few minutes ago. Carrie couldn't help but wonder, are you a human or a ghost? Who knows, right? Kurosawa swung his hand and smashed the corpse of a pirate into the crowd. The technique turns to Tsang. Under the unnoticed corpse's clothes, a surge of blue-white light erupted with an astonishing suction force, directly rolling a group of pirates together, smashing through several tables and chairs, and embedding them in the corner. Callie's eyes flashed when he saw this. What is that blue-white light that just flashed? Is it a devil fruit ability? After being briefly surprised, Carrie, who had been practicing for more than 2 years, pretended to be calm and confident and spoke. Even ordinary devil fruit users are no match for me. Devil fruit? Kurosawa's lips curled up in a mocking arc, and he immediately stretched out a finger with a sneer, B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* Ah. What an arrogant brat, remember, you are the challenger. As soon as he finished speaking, Carrie felt a flash of coldness. His right arm instantly lost consciousness and blood surged like a fountain. Ah! How dare you, kid? My hands are squeaking. Before Carrie could react, a big hand pressed on his face, and the curses in his mouth turned into moans of pain. He was shocked again, this kid was so fast. Kurosawa's lips turned into a smile. After the heaven-defying six eyes were strengthened, using the magic technique to reverse Zhang's gravity and move at high speed was far more useful than he imagined. So, have you prepared your last words? Waste. Ugh b asterisk 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 d. Carrie was furious and wanted to swing his left arm towards Kurosawa, but how could Kurosawa give him such a chance? As the spell power surged, blue-white light lit up in Kurosawa's palm, and the huge suction force directly caused Carrie's face to become distorted and bloody. At the same time, Kurosawa raised his arms high, and Carrie's head was firmly fixed in Kurosawa's hands as if it was attracted by a magnet, and was then slammed to the floor. Boom! There was a dull loud noise, a blow full of magical power, and Kurosawa's current physical strength. It is estimated that Kali's brain has been shaken by him. Sure enough, the system prompts sounded in Kurosawa's mind. Ding! Congratulations to host for successfully killing a pirate with a bounty of 1,700,000 Baileys and obtaining its corresponding bounty of 1,700 points. Do I need to spend bounty points to upgrade skills? Ding! It is detected that the host has unfinished check-ins today. Do you want to proceed now? Boy, did you do all this? A voice came. Chapter 3. Who dares to say that he is invincible? Who dares to say that he is invincible? Boy, did you do all this? A bold voice came from the sky. Kurosawa was a little surprised. Could there be any fish that slipped through the net? The figure gradually became clearer. Before he could see it clearly, Kurosawa had already sensed clearly through the powerful heaven-defying six eyes. The strength of the person seemed not to be underestimated. We'll talk about punching in later. But Kurosawa was surprised to find that the old man jumping up and down in the sky seemed familiar. Isn't this Marine hero Garp? Why is he here? Oh. Boy, you actually know me? Garp smiled heartily and fell to the ground, staring straight at Kurosawa. There were dozens of pirate corpses found along the way, and most of them were armed with guns. Judging from the current situation, it seems that the kid in front of me solved them all by himself. If this is the case, then Garp would not want to miss such a talent. Brother Kurosawa. Cough cough. Great, you're fine. The excited Rimuru coughed a few times and ran towards Kurosawa, but maybe she was too tight just now, and the girl fell to the ground before taking 2 steps. Kurosawa, who has a range of 360 degrees with no blind spots, noticed it and teleported to support Rimuru. Rimuru also fell into his arms. Kurosawa, who had just finished hammering someone, now felt a slight tremor in his heart when he came into contact with this strange softness. Holding the sleeping Rimuru in his arms, Kurosawa couldn't help but sigh. He has grown up again. Kurosawa, it's great that you're okay. Thank you so much just now. I don't even know how to repay you. Tears filled Lilia's eyes. If Kurosawa hadn't arrived in time just now, the consequences would have been unimaginable. It's okay, boss lady, please show me your kindness. I never found a chance to repay you for taking me in. Kurosawa turned to Lilia and smiled softly. The boy's smile was so warm and pure in Lilia's eyes. She looked a little dazed, and then she realized that Kurosawa's eyes were as blue as the sky and the ocean, making people fall into it. This scene in Garp's eyes shocked him. The speed that this kid just burst out with. Even the shaves used by some major generals in this unit are not as good as this. What is going on with this kid? And looking at the situation, this kid must have solved this gang of pirates. No, we have to find a way to get him into Marine quickly. He has killed so many pirates by himself, and at such a young age. Although he does not yet have the monster-level performance of Akiji and Akainu, I believe that with systematic training, it will not be a big problem to become a lieutenant general-level figure in the future. After all, not everyone can become a general-level being who can kill an island or destroy a country by one person. That requires extremely terrifying talents. The lieutenant general level is already an extremely powerful existence on this sea. Not long after, Adjutant Bogart arrived and began to deal with the aftermath of the battlefield. Haha. What's your name, kid? Garp's mind was spinning rapidly. He thought for a long time, then scratched his head in embarrassment and said. Kurosawa felt a little funny when he saw Garp looking like this. Mr. Garp, my name is Kurosawa. How old are you this year? 18. Is there a marriage? Ahaha, boy, I'm surprised by your bones and your talent. Nowadays, the sea is full of pirates, and it's the time when Marine is looking for people. Garp said with a serious face. This was already the best thing he could say after exhausting his lifelong learning. While the two were chatting awkwardly, Bogart came to the side and said. Lieutenant General Garp. The battlefield has been inventoried. These pirates are the Carey pirates who have been active in the past 2 years. Captain Carey has a bounty of 17 million Baileys. After saying that, Bogart looked Kurosawa up and down, with a look of surprise in his eyes. Is there another little monster coming out of the East China Sea? Bailey, with a bounty of 1,700,000, before entering the Grand Line, could already be said to be the overlord-level existence causing trouble in the East China Sea. And such a pirate was actually solved by this kid alone, and it seemed that his clothes were only torn, but he still cleared the level without any injuries. No wonder even Mr. Garp is interested in recruiting. Most of the deaths of these pirates were caused by impacts and severe internal injuries. Garp's eyes lit up slightly after hearing Bogart's words. He was hit and suffered serious internal injuries. So isn't it his favorite boxing and kicking technique? Back then, he relied on a pair of domineering iron fists to build his reputation as a Marine hero. Although he himself doesn't care about this title, this kid likes boxing just like me. The young man has a bright future. Thinking of this, Garp's eyes turned brighter when he looked at Kurosawa. But, Bogart said and looked at Kurosawa with a sharp gaze. Captain Carey's right arm was cut off. Judging from the wound, it was just cut by a sharp sword energy. Garp picked his nostrils when he heard this. As a grandmaster of taijutsu, he obviously had no interest in kendo at all. Yes, I cut it. Kurosawa admitted calmly. When Bogart heard this, he immediately became interested and his tone became eager to try. I can see that the wound is quite smooth and smooth. I guess your swordsmanship has reached the level of a swordsman. Kurosawa hesitated slightly. He really didn't know whether this was true or not. Probably, I don't know exactly what it means to be a swordsman. Stop talking nonsense. My hands are itchy today. Do you want to spar with me? Garp on the side couldn't hold it anymore and was ready to see Kurosawa's strength with his own eyes and give him pointers during the battle. In this way, he also had an excuse to lure Kurosawa into Marine. Those little monsters in the past were all unruly, but they would become more docile after a good beating. Well, Laozi is such AF ****** G genius, I have thought of such a clever way. Garp is gearing up, and the more he thinks about it, the more he feels that this method is feasible. If he had known this, what would he be saying? It's a waste of brain cells. If he just goes up and starts doing it, it will be over. Oh no, he probably has no brain cells. If Garp's inner thoughts were heard by Bogart on the side, he would definitely get a blank stare. Are you sure you haven't beaten away all the geniuses? When people enter Marine intact, you carry them out with 2 poles. Isn't this inappropriate? People who don't know better think Marines are some vicious devils. Okay, Lieutenant General Garp, with pleasure. Kurosawa grinned when he heard this. He also wanted to know how big the gap was between him and the top experts in this sea. Ding! It is detected that the host has received a challenge from a top powerhouse for the first time. Reward, Born Fighter, LV1. Natural Fighter, LV1, perfectly combine and use abilities not higher than this skill level in battle, and use low-level skills to get a 50% bonus. Skill comments: in the same situation, whoever dares to say is invincible will be invincible. Chapter 4 Boy. Where are you going to fight? This skill, Doesn't it directly increase his combat ability? Interesting, I gradually understand everything. Boy, in this battle, if you can touch anything other than my hands, I will lose. Good. The two stand on opposite sides. Boy, don't you know how to swordsmanship? Where is your sword? Garp is a little confused. Is this guy afraid of hurting me? If you are afraid of hurting me, it only means that the senbei I have eaten all these years has been in vain. Just try your best, young man. Garp spoke confidently. Bogart also nodded in agreement. Garp possesses the best weapon color in this sea. Even the swordsman's slashes can't hurt him even a hair. No need, Mr. Garp. Kurosawa smiled slightly. It wasn't that he was pretending not to take it, but that he really didn't. Boy, this is your choice. Boom. Garp spread his legs, and as soon as he stood there was invisible pressure rushing towards him. Is this the pressure of playing at the top of the game? Interesting. Kurosawa's eyes were serious, he held out his hand seals and spoke plausibly. Phase, Dusk, Eye of Wisdom. After the spell has been completely chanted and sealed, the most complete power will be released, which is commonly known as the skill forward swing. When Garp was sparring with a young brat like Kurosawa, he would naturally not interrupt his spellcasting. Thanks to this, Kurosawa also has the opportunity to test the maximum power of his current AO. As the full version of the curse was chanted, Kurosawa's hair danced wildly in the wind, and huge spell power surged around instantly, quickly condensing into a ball the size of a basketball between Garp and Garp. And it's still growing slowly. What kind of move is this? Garp grinned, with anticipation in his eyes. As the blue energy ball expanded, cracks began to appear on the ground. The surface of the soil cracked and floated, and nearby wooden boards and stones were sucked into it, and then were torn to pieces by the terrifying suction force. Bogart's figure in the distance began to become unstable, with a look of wonder in his eyes. This suction force even pulled me faintly. Is it some kind of devil fruit ability? What's going on? Why did Kurosawa and Marine get into a fight? Lilua, who was attracted by the movement, said anxiously. Bogart hurriedly explained, "Don't worry, miss, Mr. Garp is discussing with Kurosawa, and he will know how to measure it." Hiss. Other lieutenant generals may have a good sense of proportion, but it's really hard to say with Garp. Don't worry, miss, Kurosawa's life safety will be guaranteed. Lilua. Kakaka. The ever-increasing green on the field finally reached a certain critical value, and the blue and white sphere containing huge magical power suddenly blasted towards Garp. Spell reversal Tsang. Maximum output. Well done. Fist boned one blow. Facing Kurosawa's menacing attack, Garp laughed and punched Da. Boom. Energy fluctuations spread out, and Tsang, who had absorbed all the power of Garp's punch, exploded with a tremor, and a violent wind swept across the field in an instant. In the smoke and dust, ordinary marine soldiers may not be able to see what is going on. But Bogart, who has the domineering attitude of seeing and hearing, could tell that Kurosawa took advantage of the moment Garp attacked Aang and quickly moved into the air, so fast that he almost couldn't catch him. Good boy. The power of this move is even more terrifying than cannon fire. Wait, is this? Bogart, who was feeling emotional, suddenly paused and exclaimed. No sword style. Kurosawa made a swipe with one hand in midair, and a 2-meter-long slash full of magical power roared out. This is the most powerful technique he can unleash in such a short period of time. Seeing this, Bogart narrowed his eyes slightly and couldn't help but hold the knife on his waist with his palm. What a fierce flying slash. Even if I want to take it, I have to resist it with all my strength. The cold light quickly expanded in Garp's eyes, but he didn't panic at all. He stretched out his big hand and held the slash in his hand, buzzing continuously. Hand knife. Boy, you are very good. But, you still need to practice. As Garp finished speaking, the next moment, the sharp slash was crushed by him. It is indeed a top-notch armed color and domineering. Kurosawa felt a little emotional in his heart, but this was also within his expectation. It's over, kid. Come F*** K me Marine. Garp looked at Kurosawa in mid-air and grinned, and at the same time put on a swinging stance. It's indeed about to end. Kurosawa has never practiced moonwalk in mid-air, so he can't use his strength to dodge. And facing Mr. Garp's iron fist, few people can withstand a punch. Bogart spoke out, bringing the discussion to an end. The fact is, as Bogart said, Kurosawa's body fell from mid-air, and Garp punched him. Seeing that Kurosawa was about to receive Garp's iron fist of instruction, to everyone's surprise, Kurosawa's figure, which was in mid-air, suddenly disappeared at this moment. Behind Mr. Garp. Bogart was shocked. Black sparks burst. This is the Black Flash from Kurosawa. Black Flash, when the difference between punching and mobilizing the magic power impact is within 0.000001 seconds, the space distortion can be produced, and its power is on average 2.5 times the usual power. This is what we usually call the European Emperor's crit. Behind Garp, Kurosawa was fully focused, his eyes as sharp as lightning. The spell was reversed, blue and white light condensed in his palm, and the huge surging mantra also gathered the spell solution that was formed in an instant. Plus Black Flash. These three sets of skills, which are extremely difficult to achieve, were integrated into this attack at the same time. His penetrating blue eyes told Kurosawa, "This blow can do it. Lieutenant General Garp is losing." Seeing this situation, the Marine soldiers watching the battle couldn't help but have this idea in their minds. Bogart's expression also changed slightly, but he didn't think Garp was going to lose. The reason is very simple. Based on his understanding of Garp's strength, even if the water is released, Kurosawa will not be able to touch it. On the field, a look of shock appeared on Garp's face. In fact, he had already noticed the moment Kurosawa ducked behind him. Kurosawa's speed was indeed astonishing, but what really shocked Garp was. It came from the terrifying power contained in Kurosawa's strike. What a good boy, you can actually do this. Such a talent cannot run away under his nose. It seems that he has to be a little more serious. The confident smile on Garp's face is still there, and his physical skills that have been refined to the peak of the sea are revealed at this moment. Even in this very short period of time, he was confident that he could turn around and block Kurosawa's attack with one punch. However, the next moment, Garp's smile froze on his face. Garp was shocked to find that his body was attracted by an inexplicable force, preventing him from returning to defense. What's going on? That's it. Under Bogart's surprised gaze, Tsang, who had been knocked away by Garp's punch on the field, regrouped at some point and unleashed an astonishing suction force. Caught off guard, Garp was pulled by this suction force. Even though he was so powerful, he had no time to mobilize more strength to block Kurosawa's punch. He only had time to shout, "Boy! Where are you going to fight?" That is to say, it was Kurosawa who won. Chapter 5. It all depends on my persistence and hard work. Check-in was successful. Full of Tsang's terrifying gravitational pull and techniques and solutions for slashing that rival those of a swordsman, coupled with the blessing of Black Flash. Kurosawa's blow hit Garp firmly on the waist. At the same time, AO, who had regrouped on the field, suddenly exploded at this moment. Boom! Violent smoke and dust are everywhere. What a good boy, your talent in combat is so high. Mr. Garp, who is caught between two attacks, will definitely receive the most violent blow in an instant. Bogart clenched his fists, his eyes unstintingly showing his admiration for Kurosawa. This guy's fighting skills are perfect even from me. No. That black lightning was entangled just now. Could that be it? Bogart stared at the battlefield covered in smoke and dust with a horrified expression. After commenting on Kurosawa's combat qualities, he finally recalled that unusual black light. As the adjutant of Marine hero Garp, how could he not know the top use of Conqueror's domineering force? Conqueror's entanglement. Could it be that this kid has already mastered such top-notch combat skills at such a young age? Lilia's eyes widened, and then she smiled. Although she couldn't understand it, judging by Bogart's tone, Kurosawa must have accomplished something remarkable just now. She is very happy. Lieutenant General Garp. The Marine soldiers watching the battle couldn't help but exclaimed. The battle just now caused quite a stir. Did Lieutenant General Garp really lose to this kid? The turbulent wind brought up the smoke and dust, which gradually dispersed after a while, revealing the figures of two of them. Kurosawa's fist was imprinted on Garp's waist. Boy! You really know how to pick a place to hit. Garp had a smile on his face, showing no sign of pain from being attacked. Seeing this, Kurosawa sighed secretly in his heart, is it really? That feeling like a mountain. The 6 blue eyes can observe the layer of flowing energy that protects the surface of Garp's body. The strength of the defense is so amazing that it is simply unimaginable. The strength of this armed color domineering force, at least, cannot be broken by his current LV-1 skills. Bogart's eyes flashed as he watched the entire competition, but unfortunately, that was probably not Conqueror's entangled attack. Because he didn't feel the oppressive feeling unique to Conqueror's domineering release. But it can force Garp to have no time to dodge, so he uses his armed color and domineering force to resist the attack. Among Marines, there are not many strong men who can do it. Although there is a premise that Garp is careless. But when facing the top powerhouse, he can still face danger without fear and has clear fighting ideas. This is enough to show that this boy named Kurosawa has an unlimited future, and he might become a general. As expected of a Marine hero, I'm just tickling him with this attack. Kurosawa chuckled softly and retracted his fist. Ha ha ha, you kid still behaves well after winning. But I really like you more and more. Garp laughed and patted Kurosawa's shoulder. If he hadn't armed his domineering body in time just now, he might have lost his waist. Ba bang bang. The terrifying strange power came one after another. If it hadn't been for the physical blessing of Taijutsu, LV-1. Kurosawa really couldn't guarantee whether he would vomit blood. Damn it. This Garp really doesn't act lightly or harshly. It seems that not having a head-on confrontation with Garp just now was quite the right decision. By the way, kid, what was that black attack you just made? Garp said curiously. Bogart couldn't help but turn forward slightly, he was also very curious. That's probably a derivative use of my devil fruit ability. Kurosawa bared his teeth and said, since everyone thinks this is a devil fruit, they can just throw the pot on it. Ha ha ha, it's a good attack method. Fortunately, I have practiced my waist. Otherwise, you would have succeeded. Ba bang bang. The more Garp slapped him, the harder he got. This guy's physical fitness is also pretty good. He was slapped on the shoulder so many times and he didn't vomit blood. It can perfectly display its own characteristics in battle, with amazing speed, sharp slashes, and the devil fruit that seems to have great potential. Truly a rare genius. This time, no matter what, he must be abducted into Marine. The Warring States period would have been shocked to find out that such a genius could be picked up for nothing on a trip back to the East China Sea. I have recruited such a potential stock to Marine, and when the time comes, I will definitely make the old stingy man from the Warring States period bleed a lot. This time, at least I need 2 boxes of the specialty senbei. No. I want 3 boxes. Immediately after thinking this, Garp laughed happily and said, boy, because you killed so many pirates, then you can only join the Marine. Bogart's mouth twitched when he heard this. Why did he have to join Marine after killing so many pirates? Is there any necessary causal relationship between the two? Kurosawa is joining Marine? Lilia was a little surprised, with a flash of disappointment on her face. That's great, Mr. Garp, I'll join Marine. Kurosawa smiled and said, he was worried that he had nowhere to go, but he didn't expect that he would be sent to his door. And hanging out with Garp is quite respected even in Marine headquarters. After all, Garp is a Marine hero with an excellent reputation that even the celestial dragons don't look down upon. Huh? Do you really agree? Bogart frowned. Hearing Kurosawa's agreement, Garp was cheerful and became more convinced of his idea. If you encounter any geniuses again in the future, you can give them all a beating and you will be able to take them under your wing. But Mr. Garp, I have a small condition. Kurosawa looked at Ryua in the distance and continued, Ryua and Rimuru are my benefactors, so I hope that after I join Marine, I can ensure their safety. Upon hearing this condition, Bogart relaxed his brows and looked at Kurosawa, his admiration getting stronger. That's no problem. Send them directly to our headquarters, Marina Fando. There is no safer place on the sea than there. Garp readily agreed. As for the power to arrange such a thing, it's not like warring states can easily get it done with just one phone call. And this request is reasonable and reasonable. A super genius like Kurosawa naturally enjoys extremely high preferential treatment. Okay, Lieutenant General Garp. Kurosawa smiled. Ryua and Rimuru didn't have any objections about moving. The tavern was destroyed and it was not safe to stay any longer. Kurosawa joined Marine and they moved to Marineland so they could meet more easily in the future. Soon, the huge dog-headed warship set sail. Your current position is Marine Sergeant, but I believe you will be able to shine in Marine soon. Swordless style is really rare. But if you have a famous sword that is good enough, the power of the slashing will be even more amazing. Bogart shook the sword at his waist and said. Kurosawa looked at it, and through the heaven-defying 6 eyes, he saw that Bogart's sword was indeed not ordinary. It seems that the people at Garp are treated well. The same sword leads to the same destination. Bogart's words are true. And speaking of which, since the natural fighter, LV1, can perfectly integrate and use skills, maybe he can also integrate the swordsmanship and techniques and interpretations of this world. If it really succeeds, its power will definitely increase dramatically. The slash that cuts off the world. Maybe, at least I haven't found a suitable famous sword yet. Kurosawa responded. I'll help you find it. A simple sentence represents Bogart's high hopes and recognition for the young man in front of him. I will remember this kindness first. The more he looked at the young man in front of him, the stronger the curiosity in Bogart's eyes. But I'm curious, how do you train your swordsmanship and physical skills? While speaking, Garp also looked at Kurosawa with some expectancy. In this small island where there are no strong people, is it possible to be self-taught? Some people want to know the answer to this question. Ryua and Rimuru had already woken up, staring at Kurosawa with their beautiful eyes. In particular, Rimuru pretended to be angry and hugged Ryua's arm. Brother Kurosawa is so powerful, but he still hides it from us. And facing the gazes of everyone, Kurosawa smiled slightly. Since everyone is so curious, it seems that they can't do it without a serious explanation. Actually, all this. It was as if there were invisible eyes watching, also waiting for Kurosawa's answer. Kurosawa raised the corners of his mouth. It all depends on my persistence and hard work. As soon as he finished speaking, Kurosawa started doing push-ups on the spot. Today's check-in progress, standard push-ups, 1/100. Under the gaze of everyone, Kurosawa moved very rhythmically. Push-ups +1, push-ups +1, push-ups +1. Ding! Congratulations to host for successfully completing today's check-in. Reward, Conqueror's Dominance, LV4. The reward has been distributed, please check it carefully. He didn't expect Ba Mao to be so simple and crude. Looking at the skill introduction, Kurosawa couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth. Conqueror's Haki, LV4, Extraordinary Power of the Heart, a terrifying increase in Haki reserves, the ability to perform Conqueror's Entanglement to deal substantial damage, and the spread range can reach 3,000 meters. Skill comments, not kneeling before the king is the original sin. Chapter 6 everyone here is trash. Conqueror's Entanglement. The secret of domineering power that only a very few strong people know. And I know that there are very few people who can actually possess it and can display it. This wave of check-in rewards. Kurosawa smiled. Gradually he became enlightened. Everyone looked at Kurosawa doing push-ups and suddenly laughed, a little confused. Especially all the Marine soldiers looked at each other. One of them shook his shoulders, are you going to become a sergeant now? I joined Marine and practiced for 3 years before I became a seaman apprentice. Speaking of which, I just killed so many pirates and had a high-intensity sparring session with Lieutenant General Garp. Is there any physical training? Besides, this guy can still laugh while exercising. Could this be the key to becoming a strong man? Push-ups are really the secret to his becoming stronger. Can you beat Lieutenant General Garp just by doing push-ups? Is it true? Instructor, I want to do push-ups too. I want an instructor too. A wave of exercise craze triggered by Kurosawa quickly swept across this dog-headed warship. Garp laughed at this, he was so happy. Bala, bala, bala. As soon as the sun lounger was set up, the coconut juice was poured, and the sunglasses were put on, Garp immediately started eating senbei leisurely. Bala 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 baga. Copy you. Where did you go, you be asterisk 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 D. As soon as I answered the call, I heard an angry shout coming from the other end, obviously very angry. Marine round hat, black framed round glasses, and a mustache on his lips. There is no doubt that the person on the other end of the phone is the current Marine Fleet Admiral, Buddha's Warring States period. Ah ha ha ha. Warring States, please don't be impatient. Garp was used to facing Sengoku's angry scoldings. He calmly pinched his nostrils and then said, "When I return to the East China Sea this time, I will have a great harvest." Oh? You also had a good harvest. Don't tell me it's the special clam senbei from the East China Sea. Aha, it's really a good harvest. A pirate with a bounty of 17 million baileys was killed. After a brief silence, far away in the Marine Fleet Admiral office in Marineland, Sengoku held the table with one hand and slowly brought the phone bug to his mouth. You be asterisk 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 D, did you eat senbei and ruin your brain? You are showing off to me the 1-700W Bailey's pirate. Jean Guichi raised a cross on his wrist. However, Garp had obviously expected Sengoku's anger. He had already pictured Sengoku's angry appearance in his mind, but he laughed even louder. You be asterisk 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 D, it's okay. I'm dead. I've been busy all day. Ahahaha. In the Warring States period, I really had a great harvest. Seeing that Sengoku was about to hang up the phone, Garp quickly stopped the tears from laughing, and then said seriously. I pulled a little monster into the marine this time. The 18-year-old Wudao sword master, does Bogart also recognize him? Yes, there is also the mysterious devil fruit with great potential. It moves at an astonishing speed than the major generals in our headquarters, and its physical skills are also amazing. The point is, this kid competed with me, and he won. What? He beat you? Warring States was really shocked this time. He didn't know enough about Garp. Being able to defeat Garp in a sparring match, even if it means being thrown into the sea, is definitely not something that ordinary people can do. Warring States readily agreed. Ha ha ha, well done Garp, it's not a problem for such a person to make such a small request. Aha, then you have to prepare 3 boxes of my specialty senbei. Hello. Why is the signal so stuck? Garp, I hung up in advance. Baga. Garp stared at the hung-up phone blankly, and then looked at Bogart with wide eyes. Bogart looked away. Just kidding, how can he, a young adjutant, say that he is not Marine Fleet Admiral? At least he has to be promoted to Lieutenant General. On deck. Kurosawa brought up the system panel. Character, Kurosawa, human race. Abilities, Conqueror's Haki, LV4, Heaven-defying 6 eyes, LV1, Jutsu Shunran, Tsung, LV1, Jutsu Jia, LV1, Physical Technique, LV1, Natural Fighter, LV1. Identity, Sergeant Marine. Bounty value, 1,700 points. Prestige level, LV1. Even your righteous dog is disgusted. Forehead. So, what can I say? Kurosawa glanced at each skill. The bounty value consumed as the skill level increases is also quite exaggerated, and the bounty value consumed for upgrading some skills is also different. It only takes 1,500 bounty points to upgrade physical skills to LV2, while heaven-defying 6 eyes requires 3,000 points. The consumption of other skills is not low either. With Conqueror's entanglement at his core, Kurosawa prefers to prioritize upgrading the heaven-defying 6 eyes compared to other skills. The world today is not peaceful. I believe that enough reward value will be accumulated soon. Regarding obtaining the bounty value, Kurosawa does have an idea. That is to transfer to the bounty department in Marine. By then, the pirate bounty will not be decided by him at will. Isn't it enough to get the bounty value just by having a hand? It's just that Garp will definitely not agree now. After all, it is not a combat department. Malinfando, School Officer Training Camp. It's really exciting. Kurosawa looked at the Marine soldiers sweating freely on the training ground and sighed. I can't help but recall Bogart's instructions to me before leaving. You have just joined Marine and you still don't understand many of the rules. Here you can quickly integrate into Marine. Many people have doubts about you killing the pirate with a bounty of 1,700,000 Baileys, but you must remember that you have to be low-key in your life. If you are too strong, it will be easy to break. But Garp added, if you feel too frustrated, just stop being a human being. Thinking of the two of them, Kurosawa smiled slightly. College Officer Training Camp, here I come. In the stands, there was a tall man with a thick beard and a yellow leopard dot shirt. It is none other than the current Lieutenant General of Marine Headquarters, Hua Xiaoshan. Hua Xiaoshan glanced at the person coming. This guy is the genius Bogart mentioned to me, with the appearance of a general. His appearance is quite extraordinary, but his physique is still a bit thin. Sergeant Kurosawa, come and report. No one answered. Don't you know, kid? Before you officially join the school officer training camp, you have to pass our test. Oh? Kurosawa became interested after hearing this. Things didn't seem as boring as he imagined. It's rumored that your kid singled out a pirate worth 17 million Baileys. If you really have that kind of strength, you pick 5 of us, and they will take turns one-on-one with you. Only if you win 3 or get our approval can you join. Otherwise, just get out. The school officer training camp does not cultivate trash who cheats on food and drinks. Hua Xiaoshan didn't stop him, but looked at Kurosawa with interest. If this young talent that Garp is optimistic about is scared away like this, it means that Kurosawa is just a man of this level. Ding! The current situation of the host has been detected, and the life choice has been opened for the host. Life choice 1, faced with the provocation of the Marines, you choose to swallow your anger, refuse to compete and admit that you are not your opponent. After all, being courteous to your seniors is a good virtue. Reward, a righteous beating from Garp. Life choice 2, faced with the Marine soldiers who look down on you, you choose to fight head-on and win without hurting anyone, fully establishing a bright image of a righteous Marine. Reward, Kendo, LV1. Life choice 3, faced with doubts, you choose to speak your mind and strike hard, knocking everyone to the ground and crushing their pride. Reward, Spell Reversal H, LV1. Hey! This system really understands me. But then again, the culture of flower growers has a long history, so isn't martial ethics a virtue? Kurosawa smiled. What is that brat talking to himself over there? A Marine soldier said arrogantly, you must be scared. Then go back and forth from wherever you are. We don't welcome waste here. Huh, so what are you still doing here? Kurosawa turned his head. The man was instantly angered by Kurosawa's words. What did you say? Oh, you misunderstood, I'm not targeting you. Huh, you know what I mean. The red color on the man's face slowly receded. Kurosawa curled his lips and continued, I mean, everyone here is rubbish. Chapter 7, Getting Along Well. Kurosawa must have gotten along well with the soldiers. What did you say? You little recruiter, how dare you humiliate me? I see you are really impatient. Do you dare to say what you just said again? Facing the angry crowd, Kurosawa continued calmly, many people questioned, many people laughed at. But I don't need anyone's approval. Everyone here is rubbish. Hua Xiaoshan in the stands couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he heard this. Did this kid just scold him? It's so cruel. The person who can be favored by Mr. Garp is really not an easy person. Seeing this. You are really arrogant, just let me come and meet you. A person walked out of the training camp. This person had dark skin and a physique that even in the pirate world looked extremely strong. Miguel, he is recognized as one of the top 5 in the current school officer training camp. In less than a year after joining the camp, he has already mastered the razor and iron, and is determined to become a marine general. But remember, you, Kurosawa, are the challenger. Miguel looked at Kurosawa coldly, full of confidence in his own strength. Kurosawa shook his head. Miguel sneered, "What? Are you scared? Ha ha ha, this is so embarrassing." As expected of Miguel, this guy is just a soft-footed shrimp who only knows how to exaggerate. Kurosawa stretched out a finger and grinned. I mean, I'll hit you all. The atmosphere froze for a brief moment, and the faces of everyone in the training camp instantly turned red. MD can't stand it anymore. This guy is so arrogant. He never took us seriously from the beginning to the end. Miguel, please teach him how to respect veterans. Hua Xiaoshan's face in the stands also darkened. This Kurosawa was indeed a little too arrogant. With so many people coming together, even a pirate who can kill 1,700,000 Baileys will still be drowned by the human sea tactics. Boy, you will pay for your arrogance. Miguel's face was extremely gloomy, his head sank slightly, and the muscles in his feet suddenly exerted force. Shave. With a crashing sound, Miguel's figure disappeared directly from the spot, and then flickered on the field. Seeing this scene, Hua Xiaoshan in the stands puffed out smoke. Miguel's shave is much better than before. The threats faced by Marine today are not small. Seeing capable people thrive, Hua Xiaoshan feels a little relieved. Ha ha ha, you can't find the answer. Beat him, Miguel. Let this kid know what it means to be a man of heaven and earth. Miguel on the field was also observing Kurosawa while using his shave. He did not look down upon Kurosawa as much as he seemed. Those who can be specially approved to enter the school officer training camp must be outstanding. It's just, so far, Kurosawa is still in the same posture as before, motionless, with flaws all over his body. Could it be that I am worrying too much? This guy can't catch my movements at all? Kurosawa doesn't know Miguel's thoughts. Kurosawa just thought what Miguel was doing was stupid. Is it interesting to jump around? It was just a waste of energy, just to show off. Under the perception of 6 eyes, Miguel's shave was extremely slow and not threatening at all. Finally, after some flashes, Miguel decided not to be patient anymore and took the initiative. The strong figure suddenly shot up like a cannonball, and when it reappeared, it was less than 2 meters behind Kurosawa. Just when Miguel was about to punch, a scene that frightened him happened. I saw Kurosawa turning his head at some point, and Miguel's eyes happened to meet those blue eyes. How is that possible? How is it impossible? Kurosawa said softly. Miguel's expression changed. Could this guy still hear my voice? Good. Kurosawa's whisper made Miguel's expression change wildly, and he immediately exclaimed. You, iron. Seeing Kurosawa's punch, Miguel felt like he was facing a formidable enemy and hurriedly used the iron block with all his strength. Boom! A dull sound came, Kurosawa's fist touched Miguel's chest, and the latter's iron block deformed directly. Mixed with Zhang's punch, how could a piece of iron of this magnitude be able to block it? The terrifying power swept through his body, and Miguel felt his eyes go dark and lost consciousness. Of course it's a guess. Kurosawa chuckled. Of course he couldn't hear Miguel's inner thoughts, but he could make a general judgment. Looking at Miguel lying on the ground and foaming at the mouth, the field fell into dead silence, and Hua Xiaoshan's eyes in the stands were also glazed over. Next, do you want to be beaten down by me one by one, or together? Kurosawa's whispers echoed on the training ground, and in this scorching air, his strength seemed so elusive. What a joke! Even Miguel was knocked down by this guy with one punch? Could it be that Miguel was careless? This is the only way to explain it. Drop. A drop of sweat dripped from a soldier's chin. ****. Don't be afraid, everyone. Come together. Kill this B*****************. After a long silence, someone finally took the lead in the charge. A satisfied smile appeared on Kurosawa's face. A few minutes later, looking at hundreds of bodies scattered on the ground, Hua Xiaoshan forgot that he was still holding a cigarette until he almost burned his mouth. Ah! Hiss! This kid actually picked the entire training camp by himself? I'll be a good boy. Hua Xiaoshan looked at Kurosawa in disbelief, but saw the latter slowly turning his head to look at him. After meeting Kurosawa's gaze, Hua Xiaoshan's facial muscles trembled unconsciously. Why do you feel like this guy wants to kill him too? The next moment, Hua Xiaoshan saw Kurosawa smiling gently at him. Together? Senior Huashishin. Fleet Admiral Office. Crack, click, click, click. Crisp sounds continued to come out, occasionally mixed with hearty laughter. Ha ha ha, I don't know Kacha. How is that boy Kurosawa doing with Hua Xiaoshan? Kacha. But speaking of the Warring States period, can't you really give this Senbei a little more? Click. Hey, Sengoku sat on the chair and held his forehead, looking helplessly at Garp. The latter was putting the specialty Senbei into his mouth without any concern for his image. The crumbs fell all over him, even on the ground. How could he still look like a marine hero? You don't have to worry too much about this, Hua Xiaoshan is better than you at teaching others. Sengoku rubbed his head. Ha ha ha, that's true. Presumably, the kid must have become one with them by now. Chapter 8 Shocks Malinfando. In the school officer training camp, fierce collisions were heard from time to time, which attracted many people to watch. Boom. It seems Bogart's words about you being the winner in the competition with Lieutenant General Garp are true. Hua Xiaoshan fell back to where he was, his expression became much more serious. It's a pity that your physical fitness is still lacking, boy. After being bombarded several times, Hua Xiaoshan has discovered. Even though Kurosawa's performance was very strong, his strength was much worse. Are you ready to wake up? Kid. What's coming next will be very painful. Hua Xiaoshan was gearing up, and there were a lot of onlookers. In order not to lose face, he was already preparing to do something serious. It's only right that I give this to you, General Yamanaka. Use your full strength, young man. I'll give you 3 moves first. Hua Xiaoshan waved his hand and said boldly. What a joke, with so many people watching, if he, a Marine Lieutenant General, hits a recruiter first and takes the initiative, will he still be able to work around in the future? Kurosawa smiled. Then I won't be polite. Don't blame me for hurting Mr. Lieutenant General. I couldn't have asked for it. Hua Xiaoshan couldn't help but tremble when he saw the kid smile, but his momentum was not weak at all. The news of the battle has attracted many people. The deeds of the officer training camp led by General Yamanaka, a recruit who started a fire by himself, have gradually spread in the military camp. At this time, a graceful figure walked in the military camp. Her beautiful appearance attracted many people to turn their heads frequently. Next to her was a man with a slightly wretched figure. After receiving this news, Guillaume's lips curled up slightly. It's been a long time since it's been this lively. Let's go and see who the sailors are who are making a big fuss in the training camp. Okay Guillaume, I will listen to you, but speaking of Guillaume, are you really? Jiaji nodded, remembering the speaking skills he just learned a few days ago, and took the opportunity to express his feelings. Shut up. Guillaume directly interrupted Cake's chatter and walked away. Jiaji, who was used to being rejected, was not discouraged and followed suit. In the training camp, wanton spells danced wildly, blowing Kurosawa's hair into a mess. As the complete mantra was chanted and the seals were formed, 3 basketball-sized cannonballs suddenly blasted towards Huashao Mountain, flying sand and rocks wherever they passed, with a terrifying momentum. Is this your devil fruit ability? Hua Xiaoshan's gaze was sharp, and he straightened up his horse and said with a grin, it's only to this level, but it's not enough, kid. Let you see, a real man never dodges. Huo Shaoshan moved the iron block and prepared to carry it directly. Everyone onlookers exclaimed. Fire Yamanaka is preparing to take this move. Can you do it? The next second. Bang! Song was directly caught by Huo Shaoshan's hands. Under the huge gravitational pull, even the ground began to crack, and sand and gravel continued to sweep in. However, Huo Shaoshan inside it still has a relaxed expression, which shows how powerful he is. Is this the iron that burned General Yamanaka? It's too strong. This move will not pose a threat to Yamanaka at all. But if he can do this, this recruit is already very capable. But what is this recruit's ability? It looks quite powerful. Yes. We can faintly feel the suction coming from the blue ball even though we are standing so far away. At this time, Gion and Cake arrived, just in time to see the scene of the burning mountain facing AO. This ability is quite interesting. Looking at the dancing blue ball of light, Gion's beautiful eyes moved slightly. Isn't it just the ability of the devil fruit? It's still much inferior to what I used to have. And the power gained from the devil fruit has its weaknesses after all. Seeing Gion actually praising another man in person, Kaji was a little displeased, but at the same time he didn't forget to take the opportunity to brag about himself. Gion simply ignored Cake and continued watching. On the field, Huo Shaoshan felt the power of the maximum output Song at close range, and then grinned. Boy, with this little strength. Before he finished speaking, the smile on Huo Shaoshan's face froze. In the reflection of his pupils, scarlet light shone, and the aura coming from it even made him feel intense heart palpitations. A spell greater than Tsang's power arose around Kurosawa, and he also began to chant Chi-Hi's spell. Phase, jackfruit, pillar of light. The dazzling red and white light swirled and intertwined on the black-haired boy's fingertips, and finally condensed into a red ball of light that was only the size of a marble. The domineering and powerful men onlookers stared intently at the red ball of light at Kurosawa's fingertips. Under the perception of Jian Wen's haki, they more or less felt something strange from this red ball of light. The power of this move. I'm afraid it's not easy. Gion's beautiful eyes stared at the red ball of light, and she couldn't help but raise her eyebrows. This kid's moves. What are you pretending to be? Jiaji was also shocked in his heart, but he still said harshly. In addition to facing this move directly, Gion and Cake, who are the most domineering, should be the ones on the field who are most aware of the power of this red ball of light. This move isn't worth doing forcefully. The big one is coming, Fire Yamanaka. A real man never dodges. Kurosawa smiled. Spell reversal H. Even the minimum output of the jutsu reversal, he is twice as powerful as the maximum output of the jutsu reversal Aang. What's more, Kurosawa is on full fire now. The red light flourished, and Huo Shaoshan, who was a little dazed, finally came to his senses. Although it is said that a real man never dodges, there is another saying that a good man will never suffer the immediate consequences. He should be a hero if he burns the mountains. Just as he was about to avoid it, at this moment, Tsang's suction force suddenly increased sharply, pulling Huo Shaoshan into direct rotation at high speed. Oops. This guy has a backup plan. Huo Shaoshan's face changed wildly. Compared to Tsang, his speed is extremely astonishing. Even at normal times, Huo Shaoshan would not be easy to dodge, not to mention Tsang's strong suction to restrain him. At this moment, he had no choice but to turn his armed domineering energy to the extreme. Under the attention of everyone, the red ball of light came instantly. The next moment, dazzling white light shone across the entire venue, followed by violent roars and howling winds. Everyone's mouth gradually became O-shaped. Boom! Violent roars resounded throughout Malinfando. In a high-rise building where the conditions of the training camp can be observed somewhere in Marinafando. A tall figure wearing sunglasses and yellow stripes was staring at the duel in the training camp, making a magnetic voice. Oh, it's really scary. The next moment, the yellow-striped figure turned into light particles and disappeared. What's going on? Enemy attack? Did the pirates attack us? Are you kidding? This is Marinavando. Marine headquarters. Do pirates dare to fight? Ports, training camps. Marine soldiers in various areas were shocked after hearing this unusual explosion. Malinfando, who has always been peaceful, experienced a rare commotion today. Residential area behind. Rilua and Rimuru had just finished decorating their new house when they heard a loud noise coming from the front. Rimuru frowned and looked worried. Why is there such a violent explosion here? I don't know what happened to Brother Kurosawa. Don't worry, my daughter, this is the Marine headquarters. Kurosawa will definitely be safe training here. Rilua comforted her, but somehow she always felt that the movement was related to Kurosawa. Marine Fleet Admiral Office. After hearing the explosion, Warring States stood up suddenly, frowning and looking at the direction of the school officer training camp. What are these guys doing? Huh, Sengoku, why are you so excited? Those boys are here now, so you don't need to worry about anything. Garp happily stuffed a large handful of senbei into his mouth. Warring States frowned. This is not an ordinary explosion, at least ordinary cannonballs can't do it. By the way, the Kurosawa you mentioned should be in that direction now according to the time. He couldn't have done it, right? Garp paused after hearing this and turned to look at Sengua, whose face gradually turned dark. Ah, Sengoku, I suddenly remembered that I still have something to do. I'm leaving first. Listening to the laughter that came from far away, Warring States finally stroked his forehead helplessly. Are all the guys brought by Garp so noisy? Training camp. This is heaven-defying. What kind of recruit can beat up a Marine Lieutenant General? Chapter 9 Recognition from the system, the boy has talent. Ho. As the dazzling red light dissipated and the howling wind gradually subsided, the onlookers Marine opened their eyes wide and looked. I saw that a huge crater had appeared where the explosion had just occurred, and dust and smoke continued to rise. All Marines turned their attention to the black-haired boy on the field, their eyes full of disbelief. Holy shit! Are you sure this guy is a recruit? The power of this move. It may not even be comparable to that of a warship cannon. Be confident and eliminate the possibility. By the way, Yamanaka will be fine after the fire. This explosion is too scary. Yamanaka will not hide from the fire. I can only comment on this and say that he is indeed a real man. He is a role model for our generation to learn from. Clatter. A white fist hit the sailor's head, and Gion scolded, "What a man. Are you still studying? Anyone with any brains should know how to avoid the enemy's ultimate move." Who hit me? It's Lieutenant General Gion. The sailor's face instantly turned red when he saw the person coming. Lieutenant General Gion is here. When everyone heard the sound, they all saluted. Is she Gion, the rumored most beautiful woman in Marine? It's really extraordinary when I see her today. Gion glanced at all the sailors with his beautiful eyes, and said in a serious voice, "Don't you understand how to avoid his sharp edges? The burning of General Yamanaka today will be your negative teaching material. Remember it. Remember. Lieutenant General Gion." All the sailors said in unison, "There is no way, Gion's justice is too convincing." Only then did Gion become slightly satisfied. His eyes turned to Kurosawa and his voice softened as he said, "Are you the Marine recruit that has been rumored so much today?" Kurosawa then turned around and looked. A pink military robe, and that huge justice. Isn't this the candidate General Gion? Then the wretched dwarf next to her is a plus. Kurosawa smiled slightly. Lieutenant General Gion. Lieutenant General Cake. Kurosawa's turning back instantly shocked everyone. Wow, how come this recruit is so handsome? Indeed. Even when I was 18 years old, I was still slightly inferior to him. Amidst the whispers of the sailors, Gion also saw Kurosawa's appearance clearly, his pupils shrank inconspicuously, and his voice became softer unconsciously. You have mastered this kind of strength at such a young age. The future is really promising. Ah. Kurosawa responded with a smile. Hearing Gion's praise of Kurosawa, Kaji's face turned dark. Originally, he was a little curious about this powerful Marine, but now his favorability has dropped directly to negative points. And how come this boy is so tall and handsome? B*************************** D. Cake, whose face was a little distorted, couldn't help but said in a strange tone, "That's it, Guillaume, where is it?" With this little strength, Cake, was much stronger than this back then. "Oh. I remember when you first joined Marine, you were chased and beaten, right?" Guillaume responded unceremoniously. "Nonsense. I was preparing to practice moonwalk." Jiaji's dark history was revealed, his cheeks gradually became hot, and he hurriedly defended himself. Would Lieutenant General Jiaji also be chased and beaten back then? I really didn't expect that Lieutenant General Jiaji would have such a past. Listening to everyone's discussion, Jiaji suddenly felt a little unable to sit still, and immediately said, "Recruit, what's the matter with you? You made such a big noise when you just came here. You are very courageous. Look how much you've destroyed this place. You've also injured so many of your comrades." Kurosawa looked at the embarrassed Jiaji and said calmly, "They asked for it. How dare you talk back?" Jiaji gradually became angry when he saw that Kurosawa still dared to show off his authority. He glanced at Kurosawa's military rank and said unceremoniously, "I'm just a sergeant. What do you know about contradicting your superior? What are the consequences? Enough with the extra tricks. Don't you know the rules of the training camp yet? What else can you say if others win based on their strength?" Guillaume yelled at Cake, who faced Guillaume and wanted to say something but finally kept his mouth shut. Kurosawa was amused when he saw the deflated Cake, but he didn't expect that Guillaume would stand up to defend him. But in the face of Kaji's aggressiveness, Kurosawa didn't want to give in any longer. And he has been so high-profile today, why should he give in now? Impossible. He agreed, but the system didn't agree either. If the worst is possible, stop pretending and show your cards. Paired with Conqueror's entanglement, it'll be a blast with him. He was just an alternate general, and after 2 years he was replaced by Fujitora and Green Bull. Such a guy is not worthy of bowing his head. But saying this directly seems to have hurt Guillaume by mistake. After all, someone else just spoke for him. "I'm sorry, Lieutenant General Jiaji. I like to speak with my strength, unlike a certain dwarf lieutenant general who only talks about it." The scene fell into silence for a while. Everyone looked at Kurosawa, never expecting that he would dare to say that Jiaji was a dwarf to his face. It's okay to say things like this behind your back. You're just a recruit, but you're really brave to slap them in the face in front of them. I know you are in a hurry, but don't be in a hurry. Lieutenant General Jiaji also has things that I admire. Kurosawa smiled. When everyone heard this, they were eager to relax. It seemed that this recruit was not as arrogant as they thought. However, Kurosawa continued. "After all, I can't be shameless and follow others after being rejected hundreds of times. I really admire your perseverance. It's worth learning from everyone." Hiss. There was only the sound of gasps on the field, and everyone looked at Kurosawa as if they were looking at a monster. Is it really okay for you to poke a lieutenant general in his sore spot like this? After hearing this, Guillaume was also stunned and looked at Kurosawa in disbelief. This handsome little guy has such a vicious tongue when he talks. Is he really not afraid of being beaten? Or does he still have any confidence? And he didn't just join Marine, how did he know these things? Has he already collected all the information about Marine? Unconsciously, Kurosawa's ability has risen to a new level in Guillaume's heart. Kakaka. Jiaji's fists clenched and his face turned completely gloomy. How dare you slander him like this in front of Guillaume? If he tries harder and doesn't give this kid some eye drops, then he won't have any dignity at all in Marine in the future. Boy, are you challenging me? Do you think that if you win Huashushin, you can walk sideways in Marine? A cold light flashed through the gaps in Jiaji's narrowed eyes, and an invisible pressure quietly filled the air. Even the people watching the show felt something was wrong. Lieutenant General Jiaji is really angry. At this moment, the voice of the system sounded in Kurosawa's mind. Ding! Host's performance as he just joined Marine has been recognized by the system. Reward, reversal technique, LV1. Oh, and there is this reward. Not bad. A smile appeared on Kurosawa's face. This scene fell into the eyes of everyone. Crazy. This kid is really crazy. You can still laugh in the face of Lieutenant General Kaji's wrath. This kid is really not afraid of going out on his own. Ding. The host's behavior is detected to be too charming. The reward reversal spell level is upgraded to LV2. Reversal technique, LV2, consumes a large amount of mana to quickly restore one's own injuries, and can regenerate severed limbs. The more severe the injury, the slower the recovery. Skill comments, the little holy grail that consumes mana and restores blood. Seeing this, after a brief moment of astonishment, Kurosawa smiled even more on his face. Seeing the smile on Kurosawa's face getting brighter, Cake Sword could no longer suppress it. Huh, the boy has talent. Chapter 10 Prestige Level Improvement, Golden Legend? Oh, the young people nowadays are really scary. A magnetic voice sounded, accompanied by the flashing of golden light particles, and a tall figure wearing yellow stripes came to the scene. General Porcellino. Everyone shouted. You are the quickest at joining in the fun. A figure in red came over and looked at Porcellino with a critical look on his face. That's nonsense. You're not slow at eating melon either. Porcellino was not used to it and went back directly. What nonsense are you talking about? I came here as soon as possible to prevent a vicious incident from happening. This is the duty of a general. Sakaski said righteously. Porcellino, yo, you really do your duty. General Sakaski is here too. Everyone looked at the visitor in surprise. Ah la la, today's training camp is really lively. It's this little brother, right? Oh, it's our first time meeting you. Kurosawa followed the sound and saw a tall figure walking slowly, wearing a white suit and a blue shirt. It's General Kazan. Oh my god, are all three generals here today? Seeing the three generals arriving, Jiaji suddenly felt a little embarrassed. With these three high-ranking officials here, it would be hard for him to teach Kurosawa a lesson in person. Huh, Sakaski snorted coldly and glanced around the crowd. No one dared to look at him. Then he looked at the soldiers lying on the ground in the training camp and said in a stern voice, "Where is the instructor of the training camp here?" After hearing this, everyone realized that they seemed to have overlooked something. Cough cough cough. I'm here. Hiss. Amidst the dust and smoke, there was a sound. Huashushin bared his teeth and shook the dust off his body. He didn't know whether he should say something or not. You guys have been discussing this for a long time, and now you think of me? He, the instructor, is the most unnecessary thing. By the way, why is this brat so aggressive? If he hadn't used his armored haki to protect his whole body in time, he might have been torn apart by now. Holding back the pain in his body, Huashaoshan walked towards the crowd. Everyone looked towards Huashao Mountain. At this time, Huashushin was in disgrace. Half of his originally thick black beard was burned off. The clothes on his stomach were torn with a big hole, exposing his belly. His pants barely covered the area that needed to be mosaic, and his shoes were so rotten that his toes were exposed. It can be said that nothing is good from top to bottom. Pfft. Finally, someone took the lead and couldn't hold it any longer. Seeing this, Huashaoshan was a little confused. Why are you laughing? Report instructor, we have received professional training and generally do not laugh. Unless you can't help it. Pfft. At this time, someone else came over, namely Flying Squirrel, Ghost Spider, Doberman, and Sturez. After seeing the appearance of the burning mountain, several lieutenant generals laughed mercilessly and loudly. Ha ha ha. Huashushin, you have today too. I wonder why these little brats keep running here during their break. It turns out there is such a good show to watch. Huh, there is such a big movement. If I had known what to say, I would have come over earlier to take a look. A smile is a smile, and the strong people present all know it. Huashaoshan's armed domineering strength is not low. But judging from the situation in Huashashan, it is really scary for him to be able to severely injure Lieutenant General Marine at such a young age. Sakaski's face twitched, and after suppressing his smile, he finally said, Huashaoshan, report what happened. Hearing this, Huashaoshan glanced at Kurosawa beside him and saw that his body was clean and not even stained with dust. Huashaoshan couldn't help but blush. Then he told the story of what happened, and he also deliberately raised his voice to emphasize that he was afraid of hurting Kurosawa, so he was too loud during the sparring session. So in order to better guide the students, I am not really invincible. Okay, go heal your wounds quickly, it won't be embarrassing. Huashaoshan still wanted to defend himself, but Sakaski raised his hand and told him to leave. Because he really couldn't hold it in any longer, and I was afraid that if he laughed later, the persona he had worked so hard to maintain for so many years at Marine would be completely destroyed. Huashaoshan didn't insist anymore and turned around to leave. He was seriously injured. If he was hit a few more times, he might really be sent away. Hey, are you tired of pretending? Porcelino on the side came close to Sakaski's ear and said in a teasing tone. Sakaski's mouth twitched, but he just glared at Porcelino. Then he said to Kurosawa, it's a good thing to have strength, but today you damaged the training ground, and the repair costs will be deducted from your salary. Oh, you have to be punished even during training. It's really unkind. Ignoring the hermaphrodites beside him, Sakaski left directly. Porcelino looked at Kurosawa. Young sailor, come on, get promoted and get a raise as soon as possible, otherwise the stingy old man's salary won't even cover the maintenance fee. In Fleet Admiral's office, Sengoku sneezed violently, which be ************** D is trying to yin and yang me? The sunshine is really nice today. Since the training ground was destroyed, I'll get off work early. Hearing this, Guillaume couldn't help but make a cross on his forehead. Does the destruction of the training ground have anything to do with you getting off work? You're not training here. Also, could you please be more careful about your behavior in front of the soldiers? As a Marine general, it's okay if you can't lead by example. You change your approach every day and think about what's going on after get off work. As if he sensed something was wrong, before Guillaume could curse, Porcelino turned into particles of golden light and disappeared. Seeing this, Guillaume was speechless, but since everyone had left, there was no point in scolding anymore. Besides, there is such a handsome young sailor here today. He was much more handsome than the cowherd she saw in Hawaii Street, and in terms of temperament, there was no one who could compare with him. Ah la la, they're all gone. Kazan touched the back of his head, then walked over and patted Kurosawa's shoulder to comfort him. It's okay, little brother. You don't need to pay attention to what the guy in red just said. If you really want to pay compensation then. Kazan paused. The one in yellow will pay, don't worry. By the way, you must not make Guillaume, that is, the beautiful sister in pink in front of you angry, otherwise the consequences will be very serious. After saying that, Kazan walked away, then paused and thought of something. By the way, you guys keep training, come on. I have something else to do, so I'm leaving now, everyone. Yes. General Kazan. Guillaume then withdrew his murderous gaze from Kazan, and finally found someone who looked a bit like a Marine general. Then he turned around and shouted to everyone, what are you looking at? Why don't you hurry up and train? Look at this person. Guillaume then remembered that she still didn't know the name of the powerful recruit in front of her. His behavior and appearance really aroused her curiosity. By the way, what's your name? A gust of fragrant wind hit his nostrils, but the justice in Kurosawa's heart was as solid as a rock, and he remained unmoved by it. Sir, my name is Kurosawa. Ahem, look at Kurosawa. He defeated instructor as soon as he joined, and look at you guys still playing here. Why don't you hurry up and train? Guillaume then turned around and dismissed everyone. At the same time, he secretly wrote down Kurosawa's name in his heart and made sure to get all his information when he went back. It's all. Guillaume can pat her chest and guarantee that her actions are definitely for Marine's safety, not to find out whether Kurosawa's crush is getting married, and she has absolutely no personal intentions. Absolutely nothing. Seeing the show coming to an end, several lieutenant generals also came to say goodbye to Gion. Before leaving, they did not forget to praise. "Ha ha ha, boy, you actually defeated Huashishin. Not bad, not bad. Come on, boy, I'm looking forward to the day when you surpass me. I'm very happy to have found a talent like you in Marine. What do you think? Do you want to follow me?" But I'm already in Vice Admiral Garp's fleet," Kurosawa explained. "Well, that's such a pity. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me. Goodbye, young sailor. I hope that the next time I hear news from you, it will be you who killed the big pirate with a bounty of over 100 million. Stiers patted Kurosawa's shoulder with some regret, and then left. Marine Fleet Admiral Office. Bala 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 baga. The Warring States period picked up the phone bug. What? There is a recruit who singled out everyone in the training camp? That's it? The Warring States period did not take it seriously. What? Did you come together? Are there any more? Warring States raised his eyebrows. What? Defeated Huashishin? Warring States' eyes were shocked. That recruit's name is Kurosawa, are you sure? Hearing the affirmative answer from the other end of the phone, Sengoku couldn't help but think of the scene when Akainu Kizaru Akiji first joined Marine. It seems like they weren't such monsters at that time, right? Hi, ha 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 Garp. You really brought me a good seedling. On this day, everyone in Marineland heard the news of Marine's rise as a new talent, and Kurosawa's name gradually became known. Ding! Your prestige level has been improved. Prestige level, LV2. Your justice has some weight. Chapter 11. He deserves the status and treatment he has today. After arranging the follow-up work of the training camp, Gion left. As Cake watched Gion leave, he naturally didn't stay any longer. After all, he was really embarrassed today. After giving Kurosawa a vicious look, Cake followed suit and left. After walking far away, Gion exclaimed, "Oops." Hearing Gion's voice, Cake realized that his chance had finally come. Isn't he just following Gion every day just to lend a helping hand as soon as possible when Gion encounters difficulties? After having been frustrated for so long, now it was his turn to express himself. Jiaji hurried forward, showed a smile that he thought was a gentleman, and said with concern, "What's wrong with Gion? If you encounter any difficulties, tell me, I will go through fire and water for you, even if I go through fire and water." Gion frowned and said, "I forgot to ask for Kurosawa's phone bug." Jiaji's smile disappeared instantly. Damn it! Kurosawa. It's this Kurosawa again. Why are you so attracted to Gion after only meeting him once? I've never seen Gion want someone else's phone bug in all this time. Jiaji roared in his heart. Forget it. Gion shook his head. Hearing this, Jiaji's heart rekindled a fire. Go back and ask sister he again. You should be able to get there soon. Addition. Kizaru is right, the sunshine today is indeed very moist. Kurosawa returned to his room, and the sunlight shone pleasantly on the table through the window. Yes, this is Kurosawa's studio apartment, even though he is only Sergeant Ko. Stretching, Kurosawa tried the softness of the big bed, and then clicked on the system panel. What will be drawn from the golden prize pool? Kurosawa's eyes were a little expectant. In this prize pool, there are either top-level skills like divine avoidance, or top-level weapons corresponding to the supreme sword level, and the next least is the devil fruit ability that has been developed to the awakening level, no fruit, side effects. System, give me a shot to enter the soul. Ding! The golden prize pool is being drawn. Ding! Congratulations to host for drawing the reward, domain Infinite Space, LV1. Infinite Space. Kurosawa showed a satisfied smile on his face. This is a magical skill. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the first golden prize pool draw. Reward, no lower limit spell, LV1. The smile on Kurosawa's face became even bigger. He now very much doubted whether the system was looking for various reasons to give him benefits. Current bounty value, 6,700 points. Which skill should be upgraded first? Of course it is infinite space. Once the realm is opened, everyone becomes dementia. Hesitating for even half a second shows distrust of Master Gojo. Although it has been cut in half by NOU, it's too far away. Just stun the opponent in the field, and then you can do whatever you want. If you meet a guy with a bad mouth like Jiaji, you can raise your hand and pull him into the realm with a boundless air, turning him into a fool who can only know what to do. But, do I need to upgrade the heaven-defying 6i level first before upgrading the infinite space? The system prompts that you cannot directly cross the added point and raise the infinite space to LV2. No matter what, at present, the reward value for upgrading is 3,000 points, which just needs to be upgraded at the same time. System, give me more. Ding. Bounty value is being injected. Ding. Congratulations on successfully improving the host skill level. Heaven-defying 6 eyes, LV2, no consumption when turned on, the total amount of mana power is greatly increased, you can use long-distance ultra-high-speed movement, float for a long time, extremely precise mana power control. Mana power is wasted, it is greatly reduced, and a larger range of perception of 360 degrees without blind spots is obtained. Domained infinite space, LV2, expand a larger domain space, increase the power of the spell by 50%, and conduct high-intensity and continuous mental attacks on the enemies in the domain space, causing them to lose consciousness, which can leave the enemy with the side effects last for several days and last longer in the field. Comment, gives you baby-like sleep quality. After upgrading his skill level, Kurosawa did not relax. Get out of bed sideways and start doing push-ups. Push-ups +1. Push-ups +1. Ding. Congratulations to host for successfully checking in today. Kurosawa clenched his fist, the sun shone on it, and he felt full of energy. Dong dong dong. At this time, there was a knock on the door, followed by a pleasant voice. Is Brother Kurosawa here? Sunrise and sunset. On the second day of the school officer training camp, the sun was shining brightly. A man without a beard stood in the stands, and the young sailors in the audience were sweating their youth under the scorching sun. Ah! It's so hard for me to keep training in such weather. A drop of water slipped from Kurosawa's finger, and there was leisure and calmness on his handsome face. He shouted, hard work, but didn't show it physically. This is Kurosawa's unparalleled masculinity. Kurosawa's performance quickly aroused the jealousy of others. This be ************** D. A sailor who was doing push-ups gritted his teeth. His clothes had already been wet with sweat. Finally, he couldn't help but said to the strong man beside him, Miguel, don't you have any objections? Miguel was silent after hearing this. The image of being knocked down by Kurosawa's punch yesterday came to mind. No. 598. Silently completing training tasks that were twice as many as those of other people, the ground where Miguel was standing had already been soaked with sweat and was dripping with sweat. MD, I have an objection. Huashushin instructor, why can this person drink coconut water and enjoy the coolness under a sun umbrella? That's all. Why don't you wear sunglasses and a rocking chair? Yes, Huashushin instructor. Why? Looking at the wailing students, Huashaoshan touched his chin in embarrassment, but he touched a smooth patch. The beard that was burned off yesterday was too ugly, so he had to shave it off. Huashaoshan turned his gaze to Kurosawa, who showed no reaction in the face of everyone's accusations. The corner of his mouth twitched, and Huashaoshan shouted sharply, why? If you can let Lousy shave his beard, you can do that too. Besides, if you have an opinion, speak with your fists, not your mouth. Everyone's faces turned red when they heard this, and in the end they could only swallow this breath in their stomachs. Under the outbreak of resentment, all the sailors became more serious about their training. Kurosawa slowly shook his head and took a sip of the iced coconut juice in his hand. Ah, so cool. The rocking chair this woman picked is really good. Cool water drops slipped from Kurosawa's fingers. Even in such hot weather, he did not feel much discomfort. In fact, these sunglasses, the rocking chair, and the coconut water were not Kurosawa's idea. After all, as we all know, Kurosawa is not such a man who is greedy for pleasure. It's just that when he arrived at the training camp, he saw Gion suddenly coming forward and saying something like, "Training for so long and hard, so don't let your body get exhausted," so he directly arranged this one-stop service. Gyaji was furious at this scene, but he had no choice but to vent his anger on the other students. "What are you doing with push-ups? Straighten your neck. Do you raise your butt so high to get spanked?" Kurosawa looked at Gion with a sincere face. To be honest, he couldn't live up to his feelings. Besides, after countless days and nights of persistence and hard work, Kurosawa has this extremely handsome face, and a little help from cheat. It is absolutely normal to have such status and treatment. Just like this, a few days passed. Kurosawa was training hard at the school officer training camp as usual. "Sergeant Kurosawa. Are you going too far?" A thin figure with pink hair scolded. Kurosawa looked at the person and his expression became playful. Ding! You have a new life choice. Chapter 12. KB's justice and Gyaji quietly shattered. Others are training hard in order to become stronger as soon as possible and be able to kill more pirates on the sea. Protect more companions and civilians. KB pointed at Kurosawa and shouted emotionally. "And you, as Lieutenant General Garp's favorite person. It's okay if you don't lead by example, you are still here just for fun. What you do is irresponsible to your colleagues and civilians. Marine will be ashamed of you. Kirby, stop talking and shut up." Bulumabur, who was chasing after him, saw this and hurriedly came up to hold KB, but the latter struggled to break free. "I'm going to say it. Why do you all turn a blind eye to his behavior? No one dares to stand up and tell the truth." KB's face turned red, and his fingers seemed to be trembling with excitement. He knew Kurosawa's strength. He was the man who singled out the entire training camp and seriously injured General Yamanaka. If he is so provocative, it is very likely that the man in front of him will retaliate afterwards. However, to KB's surprise, Kurosawa just took a sip of Gion's iced coconut juice and looked at him with interest. That look was like looking at a bug. B***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** side. KB looked ugly and roared in his heart. Finally, he saw a man stand up. It was Miguel, the strongest in the training camp. Great, finally someone is going to help me. KB's face turned happy, and when he was about to speak, he saw a tall black shadow directly blocking his face. Miguel, boss, do you want me to help you beat him up? What? KB felt like he was struck by lightning when he heard this. Looking at the tall man like an iron tower in front of him, he couldn't help but feel weak. How could such a man call that B***************** D boss? It's impossible, impossible. He definitely heard it wrong. How could a marine scum like Kurosawa be recognized as the boss by the righteous Miguel? However, the next second, Kurosawa directly shattered KB's fantasy. No, I'll do it. Hearing this, Miguel stepped aside. There were people in other training camps who couldn't stand Kurosawa, but no one was as stupid as Kirby, who came directly to his door. Lieutenant General Guion had no objection, and Kaji had nothing to do with him. In this training camp, Huashishin instructor has no objections, and Miguel, the strongest among the students, has no objections either. This guy actually jumped out. Interesting. Life choice 1, faced with KB's accusations and curses, you choose to subjugate the person with force, suppress him directly, and trample him under your feet. Reward, unlimited spell upgrade to LV2. Life choice 2, you choose to convince people with reason. When the first choice appears, it would be a shame for Kurosawa to take another look at it. Kurosawa stood up and stared at the little man in front of him with his blue eyes. Marine shame? What is shame? He would tell Kirby the answer immediately. Swish. In just a moment, Kurosawa appeared in front of KB. Miguel's pupils shrank when he saw this. Even he couldn't react at this speed. Hua Xiaoshan's expression in the stands also changed. This kid's speed has actually become so much faster. Even if he tried his best, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to catch up. KB felt his eyes blurred. Kurosawa had already arrived in front of him, and he was so frightened that he took 2 steps back. What an amazing speed! But in front of so many people, we can't attack him directly. While marveling, KB suppressed the fear in his heart and was about to speak. Boom! Kurosawa punched KB in the chest, causing him to deform and vomit acidic water. Then he whipped his leg and hit KB directly on the head. Crack! Along with the sound of shattering, KB's glasses shattered on the ground, and his whole body spun in the air for 2.5 weeks before falling heavily to the ground. Kirby! Upon seeing this, Bulumeb hurried forward to investigate. Although it was very weak, luckily he was still breathing. The B************* D is so cruel. Anger flashed in Bulumeb's eyes, but after meeting those blue eyes, all the anger turned into fear in an instant. Kirby and Kurosawa were both sergeants, but they didn't expect the gap to be so big. They were instantly killed in one encounter. Looking at the silent Bulumeb, Kurosawa clapped his hands and said calmly, "This is called shame. Screaming without strength, no matter how loud it is at the time, will be embarrassing in the end." Ding! Congratulations to host for receiving the reward, no lower limit spell, LV2. It's just nonsense. A shout came from a distance, and everyone followed the sound. I saw a beautiful figure wearing a pink robe and military uniform coming angrily, and there was still a follower behind her. Seeing the angry look on Gion's face, Hua Xiaoshan muttered in his heart, "Oh no, this ant is angry." Miguel secretly clenched his fists when he saw this. Bulumeb looked happy when he saw the lieutenant general badge on the shoulder of the visitor, as if he had seen a savior. "Great, Kirby. Your sacrifice was not in vain. Someone is here to bring justice to you. Adding a plan makes me secretly happy." Kurosawa's speed in the scene just now really shocked him. But Gion saw this kid beating his comrades in public. Gion wouldn't like such a cruel and unreasonable person. Gion walked up to Bulumeb with an angry look on his face. The latter was about to cry and express his grievances when Gion raised his hand and interrupted. "Not only did you two not train hard during the prescribed period, you also came to other training camps to interfere with the training of outstanding students, with ulterior motives. Come here. Escort these 2 people out, suspend their positions, and clean the toilets for 2 weeks." Under the astonished gaze of everyone, the accompanying soldiers took Bulumeb and the unconscious Kirby down. At the last moment, Bulumeb looked at Gion in despair, only to see the latter wiping his palms and muttering something in a low voice. "Judging from the shape of the mouth, it looks like this. Really, because I ran so fast, I spilled a lot of the fresh juice I brought for Kurosawa." After sorting out his image, Gion walked up to Kurosawa. "You must have been training hard. This is fresh fruit juice imported from the mainland. I'm afraid you will get tired of drinking coconut juice every day. It will affect your training status. Please change the taste." "Thank you, Lieutenant General Gion." Kurosawa smiled. Looking at that handsome face, Gion couldn't help but tremble slightly. She had shed blood for Marine and made so many contributions. Now seeing Kurosawa's smile, she felt that all her efforts had paid off. "How many times have I told you, just call me Gion?" Gion feigned anger. "I'm just a little sorry that I'm late. These 2 guys didn't disturb your training." Kurosawa took a sip of the juice. It tasted really good. On a hot summer day, it's not very nice to have a beauty by your side. "No, thank you for your concern, Gion. You were so fast just now. It must be very hard to train at this level." I should train hard." Seeing this scene, Cake froze on the spot, looking at Gion with his eyes wide open and his face full of shock. That was imported fresh juice that he got through some connections. He wanted to give it to Gion Bomai, but he didn't expect. At this moment, Cake looked at Gion, who was chatting and laughing with Kurosawa, and felt that the goddess who was usually unattainable in his eyes seemed to have something broken. Sure enough, the secret to becoming stronger boss is to train hard. Miguel on the side heard this and secretly made up his mind to double the amount of training later. After Guillaume left, Hua Xiaoshan answered the phone and then said to everyone. Everyone is here, assemble. Chapter 13. Why do you think I chose this noodle restaurant? I don't eat beef. Oh. Is this a mission? Finally, it's not so boring anymore. Kurosawa drank the juice in one gulp and jumped into the front row of the team. There has been a pirate riot in the Sabaody Islands recently. Next, I will select people to form a team. Sabaody Islands. Two figures in marine costumes walked towards a beef noodle restaurant. Boss, don't you feel itchy? Miguel said with excitement. Miguel was really happy with this operation, and he showed the results of these days of training vividly. But Kurosawa felt quite bored. Apart from killing a pirate with a bounty of 9 million bailey. This action really made Kurosawa lose interest. Garp even called him specifically to let him go and do it. He would be responsible for any trouble he got into, but unfortunately. I originally thought I could harvest a wave of bounties, but I didn't expect that they were all trash fish, not even trash fish, they were all shrimps. Ignoring the sign at the entrance of the store, Kurosawa stepped in first. The interior decoration of the beef noodle shop is simple and quite noisy, but there are many things that should be done. However, the behavior of the customers in the shop reveals a gangster spirit. As soon as the two of them entered, the store gradually became quiet. After everyone saw the clothes worn by Kurosawa and the two, their eyes showed evil. Miguel didn't care about this and said, "Boss, what do you like? I'll treat you to it. 3 ounces of beef noodles with eggs, no chopped green onions. Boss, here are 2 big bowls of beef noodles, both with eggs. No chopped green onions." Miguel yelled and asked to sit down on a stool. But he never thought that the stool would be kicked away. The atmosphere gradually solidified, and Miguel narrowed his eyes slightly. If it weren't for Marine's image, he would have slapped him. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Miguel looked at the man. "What do you mean?" "Ha ha ha. Brother Kun. He asked you what you mean. Ha ha ha. It's so funny." Everyone was laughing and smashing the things in their hands. Bang, 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 they slapped their guns and swords on the table and the ground. Facing the roar of laughter from everyone, Miguel and Kurosawa kept their expressions unchanged. Seeing this, the man called Brother Kun became interested. "What do you mean? When did dogs deserve to be on the table?" Ha 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 ha. Miguel slowly clenched his fists when he heard this. Looking at the man with the unique hairstyle in front of him, he felt a little familiar. This guy is the pirate with a bounty of 22 million bailey, ibuprofen Duan Kun. Looking at Miguel, whose expression changed slightly, Duan Kun smiled slightly. "Did you see the sign at the door? Marine and dogs are not allowed inside." Miguel was stunned when he heard this, because he really didn't see it. "I saw it." Kurosawa looked calm, otherwise why would he come to such an ordinary noodle shop? "How dare you come in after seeing this? Did you do it on purpose or accidentally? Do you know how to be afraid now? It's too late." As he spoke, Duan Kun touched the scimitar at his waist, then pulled out a knife and slashed at Miguel. But Miguel, as one of the best in the training camp, was not just a freeloader. He turned his hand and drew his knife at an extremely fast speed to block the blow. Chong! The sharp sound of metal cutting sounded. "Come on, boss. Hoo ho ho. Kill these 2 idiot sailors to death." Amid the cheers of the crowd, Miguel and Duan Kun slashed at each other a few more times, and then each retreated to the side. "Oh shit." Duan Kun spat and shook his trembling arms hard, thinking to himself why this kid is so strong. Miguel's eyes gradually became hot. Is this the pirate with a bounty of 2,200,000 baileys? Sure enough, he has some strength. Shave. Miguel's body quickly flashed to Duan Kun's side, and then he slashed with a knife. Duan Kun's reaction was not slow, he clenched his scimitar and blocked the blow. However, this time, Miguel clearly had the upper hand. After more than 10 rounds of fighting, Miguel finally cut Duan Kun's arm with a knife. If the situation continues like this, I believe it won't be long before Duan Kun can be killed on the spot. Kurosawa drank water silently on the side, probably having an assessment of this man's strength in his mind. 2200 W. Bailey's bounty is actually quite high, but it's a pity to meet an outstanding student from the school officer training camp like Miguel. Duan Kun naturally knew that his life would be in danger if this continued, so he made a gesture secretly, and all the pirates in the store immediately stood up and pointed their weapons at Miguel. "Boy, you still dare to attack our brother Kun. Our guns are full of bullets." When Duan Kun saw that the overall situation had been decided, his tone became tougher and he said, "I advise you to be wise and stand still. My knife is faster than bullets." Miguel glanced at the muzzle of the gun aimed at him, but his eyes were not afraid. "It's worthy of a bunch of wine bags and rice bags. Damn it. Let lousy shoot this B*************** D into a hornet's nest." Duan Kun was furious, but he didn't hear the gunshot for a long time. "Kun, brother Kun, behind you." Hearing the trembling voice of a younger brother, Duan Kun turned his head and saw an extremely handsome face. "Damn this kid when." Duan Kun was shocked, and then he felt his vision spinning, and then he lost consciousness. "Brother Kun." Amid the horrified shouts of the pirates, Duan Kun's head flew high into the air and then fell to the ground and rolled around twice. Hearing the sound of the bounty being credited in his mind, Kurosawa felt a sense of relief. Miguel's eyes also flashed with shock. This was the first time he had seen Kurosawa's rumored sword-free style. He didn't expect it to be so fast. So strong. The opponent he fought so hard was killed in an instant. As expected of the boss. "You actually killed Brother Kun with one strike." I don't know who started it, but the pirate ran towards the door in panic. "Don't move." As the pirate's head flew high into the sky, Kurosawa's voice swept across the audience with endless majesty, and no one dared to make a move. The noodle shop owner who had been smiling until just now finally changed his expression, and drops of cold sweat oozed crazily on his forehead. The aura exuded by that sailor just now, could it be the legendary conqueror's haki? Miguel didn't feel anything about this, but he felt that Kurosawa's movements were very powerful, and he was indeed the man Miguel was looking for. "Boss, are the noodles ready?" Catching Kurosawa's gaze, the noodle shop owner Ji Wang hurriedly said, "I'll be ready soon." It wasn't until Kurosawa sat down that all the pirates knelt down and begged for mercy. "Miguel, boss, do you want to cuff them first?" Kurosawa rolled his eyes at him. "Did you bring so many handcuffs?" "Anyway, I didn't bring any of them." "What a joke, can't cuffing a corpse work?" Miguel was speechless. After all, he only brought one. Not long after, King Ji came over with 2 large bowls of beef. "You too, a big bowl of beef noodles with egg. No chopped green onion. Add beef." King Ji said cautiously, adding beef specially. Kurosawa took a look and said, "It is true that there is no chopped green onion, and the amount of beef is sufficient." Seeing this, King Ji breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile on his face, "You too, please use it slowly." However, the next second. "But, I don't eat beef." Chapter 14 On the eve of the war, I mean Tai Ku La. The bright smile on Kurosawa's face looked like a devil seeking his life in King Ki's eyes. King Ji was stunned for a moment, then heard Kurosawa continue. "The bounty is 36 million Bailey, King Nayukalu Ji, right?" Hearing this, Miguel's eyes became wary and he instantly entered a fighting posture. Miguel has seen the wanted notice of King Nayukalu Ji and does not look like this man, but he does not doubt Kurosawa's words. The military master is joking, but I have never heard of it." King Ji apologized with a smile. Kurosawa's expression remained unchanged. "I said you are. After a short silence. The smile on King Ji's face finally cooled down. I and the two of you are on a par with each other. How about you pretend that you have never seen me before?" "Not really." As soon as Kurosawa finished speaking, a mechanical thrust suddenly stabbed out from King Ki's back, so fast that even Miguel had no time to react. How dare two sergeants try to take advantage of me? Die. The expected scene of Kurosawa being shot in the head and dying did not happen. King Ki looked at the scene in front of him with disbelief. The metal thorn stopped just a few centimeters in front of Kurosawa, like an invisible wall, unable to move any further. This is impossible. King Ji was shocked, and dozens of poisonous needles suddenly shot out from all corners of his body. However, without exception, they all stopped in midair. Miguel was also shocked when he saw this. What kind of method is this? Is there any master in this noodle restaurant besides them? Kurosawa stood up, with a smile on his face that made Prince Ki, who was so proud just now, feel like he was falling into an ice cave. With no lower limit of magic defense, although I don't know what level of attack the current LV2 level in this world can withstand, Kurosawa has experimented and found that ordinary bullets without the blessing of domineering power can no longer hurt him, let alone a mere metal stingers and poisonous needles. Kurosawa chuckled and took a step forward. Under the protection of the unlimited technique, the poisonous needle seemed to be condensed on a layer of invisible ripples, retreating as Kurosawa moved forward. Damn, there's something very wrong with this kid. 36 Tactics, walking is the best. If you can't offend me, why can't you hide from me? Thoughts flashed through his mind, and there was a sudden explosion on King Ji's legs. They were equipped with a device similar to jet acceleration, and he quickly retreated. However, this speed is like a snail in front of Kurosawa now. In a flash, Kurosawa is following King Ki. At the same time, the domineering use of unlimited techniques is also revealed at this moment. As Kurosawa's body approached, the unlimited technique hit King Ki like a wall of air, and then embedded him directly into the wall. The huge impact revealed King Ji's true appearance, and the poisonous needle shot earlier was forcefully inserted into King Ji's body with the squeeze. Ouch! As King Ki wails in pain, the other pirates want to take the opportunity to escape. Just as Miguel is about to stop him, he sees a familiar blue-white light ball suddenly appear. The technique turns to Tsang. Rumble. As Kurosawa waved his palm, Aang swept around the noodle shop, and the terrifying suction force erupted, sucked all the pirates in, and finally rolled up the wooden house into a big ball and rolled to the ground. The wooden house was completely destroyed, and passers-by from the outside also looked at it. What's going on? I remember this noodle shop doesn't serve marine, right? Look! That ball seems to be made of people and wooden boards. I know the guy who was pinned against the wall, the great pirate with a bounty of 36 million baileys. The reformer, King NOU. He was beaten like this. What is the background of this sailor? Amid everyone's exclamations, Miguel finally came back to his senses. The tall man stood there, the sword in his hand glowing coldly. When Marine is doing anything, avoid all other people. The toxin broke out quickly, and King Ji was embedded in the wall and could not move at all. It was not until this moment that he realized what kind of existence he had provoked. You can't be just Sergeant Shao. After King Ki's desperate look, the considerate Kurosawa directly broke his neck to help him end his pain. Ding! Congratulations to host for getting 3,600 bounty points. Current bounty value, 7,400 points. I made almost a small goal right out of one trip. Kurosawa glanced around with a smile on his face, hoping to find familiar faces among the people watching. However, after looking around, it seemed that they were all rotten fish and shrimps that had not been rewarded. Miguel, call it a day. By the way, pack that beef noodles for me. Okay boss, let me pour the beef for you by the way. Hearing this, Kurosawa turned around and glared at Miguel. Pour whatever you want. Fill it up. Needless to say, although this king is a heinous pirate, the beef is all carefully selected and of the highest quality, and the portion is so generous that one bowl can equal the sales volume of Lanzhou ramen in a day. This kind of behavior that corrupts the market atmosphere, Kurosawa can be regarded as getting rid of the harm for the capitalists. Meanwhile, Marinefant, Fleet Admiral Office. Bala 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 baga. Jia ha ha ha, Warring States. As soon as the phone was connected, evil laughter came from the other end. Even Warring States felt a little uncomfortable. Warring States frowned as he looked at the phone bug that had become extremely obscene. "Who are you?" "Jia ha ha ha, Warring States Fleet Admiral, it doesn't matter who I am, but I have a gift that I think you will be very interested in." The office became quiet, and even Garp, who was usually noisy, said nothing at this time. He was always so carefree, but he always had an ominous premonition today. "What gift?" After a moment of silence, Warring States spoke. "Jia ha. Whitebeard Pirates, Captain of the 2nd Division, Fire Fist Ace. Are you satisfied with this gift, Fleet Admiral?" After the words fell, Garp's expression suddenly became unnatural, and he stared at the phone bug with his eyes. "What do you want?" "Jia ha, I want to become 7 warlords of the sea." On the other end of the phone, Marshal D. Teach had a ferocious smile on his face, and an extremely evil plan was brewing in his mind. "This beef is really good." Miguel said sincerely that it was even more delicious than what he had in the military camp. "After eating, I will take you to a good place." "Oh? Boss, have you decided where to catch the criminals?" Kurosawa smiled mysteriously. "No, after finally coming out, I naturally want to have some fun." Then Kurosawa approached Miguel's ear and whispered, "I heard that the bubble baths in the Sabayati Islands are very famous." Miguel looked at Kurosawa with wide eyes after hearing this. Kurosawa frowned. Sure enough, he had misjudged the person. Kurosawa was about to use the great memory erasure technique when he saw 2 streams of hot air coming out of Miguel's nostrils. "I didn't expect you, boss, to have this kind of hobby." "What nonsense are you talking about? I'm doing this all to keep my justice spotless. A proper indulgence, taking a bath to clean yourself, is reasonable." Not long after, 2 figures appeared in front of a luxurious place. People coming in and out of this place were wearing gold and silver, and they were either rich or noble. "Boss, didn't you say you wanted to take me to clean up the filth and seek justice? Why are you here?" Miguel looked at the big Venetian sign and said doubtfully. Kurosawa smiled slightly, "With your sergeant salary, I'm afraid you can't even afford the most basic bubble bath." Miguel was speechless for a while. That's what the boss said. Patting Miguel on the shoulder, Kurosawa strode in. "Let's go, I'll help you earn 1 or 2 small goals, and then go enjoy the Supreme Service." Supreme level. Miguel's eyes lit up when he heard this. If it weren't for his dark skin, he would definitely be a famous person now. "I listened to the boss, but boss, you actually still make money in this way." "What, you want to report me?" "Great amnestic preparation, 98%. "Boss, you misunderstood, I meant. Tai Ku La." Chapter 15 Trap Pluton Rayleigh. "I was caring for the old man and helping him get rid of his gambling addiction. Damn it. I lost all my 6,000 W Bailey in one fell swoop. Scam. This is definitely a scam. Ha ha ha. I earned 80 million Baileys with a principal of 1 million Baileys. Lousy is so lucky today. I want to make the most of this." Looking at the various devices, Miguel was a little confused for a while. "Boss, there are so many projects, which one do we have a greater chance of winning?" "Probability? If there was really any chance of winning, if someone discovered it early, it wouldn't be their turn." Kurosawa didn't say anything, but a girl in hot clothes came over. "Gentlemen, what events do you want to play? Compare the size." Kurosawa responded. "Okay sir, we in Venice have recently launched a very popular project that compares sizes. You must be very interested. Please follow me." Although the 2 Kurosawas were not dressed like rich people, the girl still had a warm smile on her face. This was the first time she had seen a handsome guy of Kurosawa's level, and with those blue eyes, she couldn't help but be intoxicated by them at one glance. There are many hotels next to Venice, and the girl is even looking forward to getting off work. It's not the girl's fault, after all, Kurosawa's charm is hard for even Guillaume to resist. Under the leadership of the girl, the 2 soon arrived at a place surrounded by people. "Damn it, Lousy, I can't believe it. 4,000 W Bailey. I'll bet big." Huh, stinky old man, you will lose all your pants today. 3,000 W Bailey. I'll bet on the kid. 2 million Bailey, I bet big. Beside the bustling table, Kurosawa focused his eyes and saw a familiar white-haired figure. However, this man who once dominated the sea did not seem to have much luck today. Interesting, that's all. Looking at the direction Kurosawa pointed, the girl was obviously stunned for a moment, and then said, "I'm sorry, sir, this project started with 1 million Baileys." Hearing this, Miguel unconsciously clenched his pocket. He worked diligently at Marine and managed to save 100,000 Baileys. As for the pirate caught this morning, I'm sorry, the reward hasn't been paid yet. So Miguel is a little embarrassed at this moment. Boss. Well, I only have 8 W Baileys on me. Kurosawa didn't panic, don't worry, I can afford it. The girl's eyes lit up when she saw this. Could it be that this man is still a low-key rich man? Then she should serve him well. Okay, sir. This way please. Boss, are you the hidden rich second generation? Under Miguel's puzzled gaze, Kurosawa took out the 1,700 W Bailey from nowhere, and Miguel suddenly realized. Kurosawa, 1708 W Bailey, put it all in. What? Miguel's eyes widened, and he immediately started to play. Fortunately, he kept 20,000 Baileys. Otherwise, if he lost, wouldn't he have to drink the northwest wind? The girl was obviously a little shocked, but she didn't say anything and just followed the instructions. Boss, do you want to bet on the older one or the younger one? Kurosawa didn't speak, he just glanced at the tube made of special material. Big. Boss, I believe you. After some struggle, Miguel's eyes returned to firmness. Buy it and leave it, open. 52 o'clock. As one person opened the market, various voices sounded. Damn it. Lousy lost all his 2 million Baileys. Explosive. This wave of blood earns 13 million Baileys. I'm coming for a high-end bubble bath. Miguel was stunned when he saw the result, and then he clenched his fist hard and said, Boss, you are awesome. You really made the right bet. Even the girl couldn't help but sigh that Kurosawa was so lucky. Kurosawa pushed with both hands, go on, bet them all, pull up. Hiss, Miguel took a breath of cold air, study again? Boss, don't you think about guaranteeing the bottom? The girl frowned when she saw this, and suddenly felt that Kurosawa was too swollen. Having good luck once is enough, but do you still want good luck to last forever? However, when the points are opened. Buy it and leave it, open. 76 o'clock big. F***CK. Boss is awesome. Miguel said excitedly, feeling the blood all over his body boiling. The girl looked at Kurosawa with a strange look in her eyes. Isn't this luck? In response, Kurosawa just smiled faintly. In his heaven-defying six-eye field of vision, as long as he wanted to, the points in the tube could be seen at a glance. Go on, bet them all, and pull them all. Following Kurosawa's domineering push, some guests who noticed Kurosawa's winning streak also began to follow. Follow me, 2 million Bailey. I follow 300 W Bailey too. Buy it and leave it, open. 61 points. Holy shit, that's amazing. Little brother, you're so lucky. But you must have used up all the winnings after winning so many games in a row. I'm going to buy the opposite game with you next time. The rest of the people also expressed the same sentiment. Kurosawa remained silent. Continue, all. Miguel interrupted before he could speak, Boss, can you give me a little bit so I can pretend to be awesome? Kurosawa gave Miguel 3,000 Baileys with his backhand. Looking at so many Baileys, Miguel even became short of breath. Kurosawa, go on, bet all big. Miguel's eyes widened when he saw this, and he leaned into Kurosawa's ear and whispered, Boss, 3 hands have been raised in a row. Is this one still safe? Kurosawa said calmly, it's guaranteed. Hearing this, Miguel also gained confidence. He silently took out the hidden 2 W Bailey from his pocket and joined in. He also followed Kurosawa's example and pushed it with both hands. Adidas, give me a full load. The opening result was naturally big, and it can be said that Kurosawa and Miguel made a lot of money. Seeing this scene, the guide girl felt extremely itchy. If it weren't for Venice's regulations, she would have done it no matter what. Get rich, boss. Miguel smiled excitedly. Kurosawa's vigorous progress attracted more people's attention, and he made a lot of money by keeping up with the rhythm. But some are happy and some are sad. An old man with white hair in the corner has lost 8 games in a row, and the guy above him even just signed a contract to sell himself. We can never lose this one again. After observing for a long time, Rayleigh made up his mind and walked to Kurosawa's side resolutely. Boy, I think you have extraordinary talents, and you will definitely be a person who can achieve great things. I have a domineering secret book here. As long as you tell me the size of the next points, I will bear the pain and give it to you. Ding! The current situation of the host is detected. Please ask the host to make a life choice. Life choice 1, faced with Pluton Rayleigh's request, you, who respects the old and loves the young, can't bear to see him being sold to the auction and decide to rescue him and tell him the correct number of points. Reward, the wrath of the Venetian boss, postpartum care of sows, X1. Life choice 2, seeing Rayleigh's sincere eyes, you smiled slightly and decided to tell Rayleigh the wrong number of points, so that he would understand that people should not be judged by their appearance, and then quickly ran away. Reward, the famous sword, yen, supreme big, fast knife level. Life choice 3. What is the postpartum care of sows? Rayleigh, this bad old man, is really bad. Kurosawa just took one look and made his choice, but what does it mean that a person cannot be judged by his appearance? He is obviously carrying out the justice in his heart as always. It is definitely not for that supreme sharp knife. 9 years of compulsory education allowed Kurosawa to perfectly inherit the excellent moral character of a flower grower. How could he bear to watch an old man like Rayleigh continue to degenerate in Venice? He clearly wants to help the misguided old man get rid of his gambling addiction even if he is involved in the game. System, you have misunderstood me too deeply. Old man, just bet big for a while, I guarantee you a huge profit. Kurosawa looked at Rayleigh and said with a smile. Rayleigh's eyes were suspicious when he heard this. Boy, will you win this one? Kurosawa smiled, I will win. But Miguel beside him always felt that something was wrong when he looked at his boss's smile, but he didn't think much about it. He just pushed with both hands and put all his profits out. He was so fast that even Kurosawa didn't have time to stop him. 200 million belly is enough for me, I'll give it to you. Seeing that Kurosawa's brothers were all under arrest, Rayleigh didn't doubt that he was there, so he blocked everything he had. Come on, give me the money. The others also followed suit. However, when Kurosawa took action, he did not bet as much as before, only betting 500 million belly. Everyone suddenly felt panicked. Before they could find Kurosawa in the crowd, the opening time had arrived. Buy it and leave it, open. 28 o'clock small. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly solidified. Chapter 16. This act is justice. Rayleigh looked at the results with disbelief on her face. She wiped her glasses and rubbed her eyes. Unfortunately, the result remained the same. So a young man actually lied to me? Did he know that what I gave him was postpartum care for sows? He turned his head to look for Kurosawa, but there was no trace of him. You kid who deceives even the elderly, remember this. Angry and itching, Rayleigh helplessly stretched out her hands and was shackled. The person who handcuffed Rayleigh didn't expect that this person would cooperate so actively. In the past, those who blocked Rayleigh's body would usually make a fuss. That's okay, it saves trouble. What the guards didn't expect was that Rayleigh was already familiar with this process. This was not the first time he had signed a deed of sale. As for why he can still hang out in Venice, haha. In the chaotic Sabaody Islands, places like Venice may not exist the next day. The ironclad Pluton, the flowing casino. There will be one less place to go from now on. Rayleigh looked at Venice reluctantly, sighing secretly in her heart. At this time, Kurosawa had brought the remaining 800 million baileys to the outside of Venice. These Baileys are enough to keep the boss lady and her family rich for a while. Really relying on Marine's meager salary, it won't be long before D becomes B. Kurosawa couldn't bear the thought. Miguel was still in a state of confusion, because Kurosawa still pulled him at an astonishing speed. "Boss, why did you leave before the deal was closed?" Kurosawa didn't answer, just threw a heavy ball to Miguel, and then glanced at the moon in the sky. "The moonlight is beautiful, but there are still many evil people who threaten other people's lives in bubble baths and other places." Miguel took the ball and then his expression became serious. "Well said, boss. It's dark and windy at night, it's the time to give the evil a head-on blow." After saying that, the two of them headed towards the extremely evil place. This trip, in order to carry out Marine's justice. Even if you exhaust your energy and blood, you will still go all out. The night passed quickly, and many new faces landed on the island one after another. The sun rises as usual, but today, it is destined not to be peaceful. Kurosawa stretched his body. The evil last night was so powerful that even he could hardly resist it. Miguel came out in high spirits. Kurosawa looked surprised. "Why are you so energetic?" Miguel was confused when he heard this. "It is indeed very clean. After one night of massage, I feel that all the meridians in my body are clear. It is indeed the supreme level." Kurosawa's eyes widened. "Just a massage in one night?" Miguel frowned when he heard this. "Yes, aren't you the boss?" The light in his blue eyes flickered uncertainly. Just when Kurosawa was hesitating whether to use the great memory erasing technique. Boom! A violent roar came from a distance. "There's a situation." Miguel looked solemn, and Kurosawa also looked in the direction of the roar. "I saw a guy with braids on his head and extremely long arms jumping up and down on the roof of the building. Behind him, a group of guys who looked like security guards were chasing him. This guy is..." Miguel stared at the man with his eyes fixed on him, and the images on the wanted poster flashed through his mind. Kurosawa looked at that strange shape for a while, and it overlapped with a certain pirate in his memory. Could it be that supernova with sonic boom DJing? As for the name, I'm sorry, I can't remember it. Why is this guy here? If this is the case, doesn't it mean that the Tianlong incident that shocked the world will break out here today, as well as the upcoming huge war? The boss lady and the others are still in Marineland. It seems like we should hurry up and let them move to avoid the limelight when we return. I remembered. Miguel on the side exclaimed, interrupting Kurosawa's thoughts. This guy is Skulekman Apu. The great pirate with a bounty of 198 million Baileys. Known as one of the 11 supernovas of the extremely evil era. Miguel's face was full of shock, his eyes were fixed on Apu, and his palms were shaking with excitement or fear. Ding! The current situation of the host has been detected and a new life choice has been triggered. Life choice 1, go immediately to execute justice and successfully kill Skulekman Apu alone. Reward, Kendo, LV1. Life choice 2, turn a blind eye, lead Miguel back to the marine station, and buy some Koata takoyaki to take back. Reward, your colleague's love for you +1. Life choice 3, if you feel in trouble but don't want to miss the reward value, immediately send people to support. Reward, armed color hockey, LV1. Hiss. System, can I get 2 rewards at the same time? Host can freely control his own life. The reward is only the reward that host deserves for his hard work. I see. Kurosawa smiled, he already understood the correct usage of the system. He took out the phone bug from his pocket. Area 2, you lead everyone to assemble quickly, remember, with guns. Seeing Kurosawa's actions, Miguel couldn't help but ask, Boss, are you planning to take action against this guy? Why, are you scared? Seeing the smile on Kurosawa's lips, Miguel became extremely excited. He realized that Kurosawa was definitely going to take action. It's just a pirate worth 198 million Bailey, how can I be afraid of him? Afraid? Miguel is the man who wants to become Marine General. Kurosawa looked at Miguel and smiled slightly. Next time he had a chance, he would have to let this kid sharpen his skills, and then disappeared from the spot. Huh? Don't you wait for their support? Miguel looked at Kurosawa, who had appeared in the air, and shouted. After being stunned for a moment, Miguel jumped to follow. The boss is going to fight a pirate worth 198 million baileys single-handedly. That's a supernova. Boss, wait for me. Still chasing after you, how many jobs will I give you? It's so life-threatening. Apu glanced at the group of people behind him, then turned around suddenly and knocked on his chest with both hands. Battle music. Start. The ear-piercing sound of the disc exploded, invisible sound waves swept out, and violent explosions occurred on the bodies of everyone chasing after them. With one move, most of the pursuers were eliminated, and the remaining half were too frightened to move forward. Apu smiled crookedly and turned around, but was almost blinded by the dazzling red light. Nanny? Spell reversal H. Boom. Under the horrified gaze of the onlookers, the red light exploded after shining to its peak, and a figure was then blasted to the ground. What was that? A shelling? Is it a new weapon? A red cannon? What a powerful force! A figure wearing a marine cloak fell on the ground. Kurosawa's eyes passed through the smoke and dust, staring coldly at Apu lying in the pit. There is indeed a big gap between the power of the instantaneous attack and the full version of the spell chant. One shot only broke half of the arm. If Miguel heard this, he would be speechless. Brother, you, a marine sergeant, broke one of the arms of a supernova with a bounty of 198 million baileys. Is this reasonable? Seeing Kurosawa's appearance, everyone onlookers started talking. What a young sailor. And so handsome. Looks like he's just a sergeant, right? Is Marine now rich enough to equip sergeants with such powerful weapons of destruction? At this time, a Marine lieutenant junior grade rushed to the scene. What's going on? What's the situation with the outbreak here? That sergeant, come here and explain it to me. Chapter 17 The Tianlong Incident. Ah! My hand! Apu climbed up tremblingly, blood pouring out of his broken arm. Who are you, boy? He was so horrified that when he saw clearly that the badge on Kurosawa's shoulder was that of Sergeant Shao, he felt even more unbelievable. How could a mere marine sergeant have such abilities? I'm a supernova. Hey, I have a question for you. I am Lieutenant Junior Grade Guy Rudd. You didn't respond to the commander's order. I don't care which formation you are in. Gilead on the side was still chattering, and Kurosawa was too lazy to respond. He just silently released a wisp of Conqueror's domineering energy towards him accurately. Boom! For a moment, Gilead couldn't help but take 2 steps back, looking at Kurosawa with a touch of awe in his eyes. You. The smoke and dust slowly dispersed. Gilead turned his eyes and his expression suddenly changed. You are Skillickman Apu. Known as the supernova of the extremely evil era. The bounty is 198 million bailey. Unconsciously, Gilead's voice became trembling when he spoke, and he stepped back again and again. A pirate of this level is not something he, a lieutenant junior grade, can afford to offend. At the very least, a brigadier marine must be sent to deal with it. In fact, ordinary brigadiers are really no match for Apu now. The onlookers also looked frightened after hearing what Gilead said. What? This guy is a member of the extremely evil era. Those are devils who kill without blinking an eye. It's more than that. I've even heard that wherever this extremely evil generation goes, not even a blade of grass grows, and not even a child can cry. What's going on with this sergeant? How did you provoke such a dangerous person? Gilead broke out in a cold sweat. He had already greased the soles of his feet and was ready to run away. Under the heaven-defying 6 eyes 360-degree blind angle perception, all the voices of everyone were heard by Kurosawa. Is it dangerous? Maybe. I just don't know if the L2's unlimited spell can withstand this guy's sonic explosion. If he can't stop it, it will blow up his head. With his current level of reversal spell, there is a high probability that he will send it. But that only exists in experimental situations. Just as Kurosawa expected, judging from the long-distance observation and close-range fight just now, it is impossible for Apu to kill him now. If a sonic attack of that level could hit Kurosawa, his heaven-defying 6 eyes would be blind. You're doing well, unknown sergeant. I'm going to call for reinforcements right now. Just hold on. Kurosawa didn't pay attention to the escaped Garud, and Apu's attention was also not focused on such a deserter. Chaos and beheading. Seizing a certain opportunity, Apu suddenly jumped into the air, and at the same time, his remaining palm flicked toward his chest. Waves of invisible sound waves ejected, and a victorious smile appeared on Apu's face. His Devil Fruit's ability attacks are invisible, and many opponents have been cut in half by him before they even understand what's happening. Judging from this kid's reaction, it's probably the same. Die. Apu had a ferocious smile on his face, as if he had seen Kurosawa being cut in half. However, the next second, Kurosawa's figure disappeared just before the sonic slash was about to arrive. What's going on? Apu was shocked. A figure appeared above him like a ghost. Click. Kurosawa sensed the place where he was just now, and the sound wave cut through it like a knife. Even the hard bricks were cut off by it. It's quite a powerful force. Seeing this, Kurosawa no longer hesitated, raised his long legs high, aimed at Apu's head, and then slammed down with a kick from Kang Black Flash. Boom! Apu's body was blasted into the ground again. The difference was that this time he quickly got up again and launched several sonic explosions towards Kurosawa. Pang! Boom! Pang! Boom! Apu, whose whip was a little scattered on his head, exploded one after another, making himself panting from exhaustion, but he didn't even touch Kurosawa's hair. Damn! How can this guy be so fast? Mr. Apu! We are coming! There were shouts in the distance, and a large number of pirates were seen swarming over. Apu was shocked and angry, and finally calmed down when he heard the shouts of his men. After all, he was a pirate with a bounty of nearly 200 million, and he quickly began to analyze. This kid is extremely fast and there is nothing I can do against him. Fortunately, although he is fast, his strength is not that great. The powerful move at the beginning can only be used once. Can't die. Thinking of this, Apu felt calm. In his opinion, the sailors in front of him had no means to kill him. Kurosawa stepped aside and looked at Apu, who was still attacking. He knew that the kick just now did not cause much damage to him. It's really not easy for someone to become a supernova. If it were Miguel, he would probably be dead by now. Hey, am I too weak after all? This guy's men have also arrived. We can't continue to play like this. I have no choice but to give him seconds. Apu, who was facing a formidable enemy, kept staring closely at Kurosawa. When he met the latter's eyes, he felt something bad in his heart. But when I think about the fact that my little brothers are behind me, and I want them to stay to block the harm when the time comes, I don't believe what else I can do to him. What's your name? It shouldn't be an unknown person who can beat me like this, Apu. Kurosawa did not answer, but curled up the corner of his mouth, stretched out a finger, and the dazzling red light shined again. Damn it! When Apu saw the souls of the dead, he didn't want to experience the power of this move a second time. Boom! Sonic and he exploded at the same time, and the field was once again filled with dust and smoke. Apu lost his sight in the smoke and dust. He jumped up and was about to move to a place where he could see clearly. However, a cold light suddenly flashed through. The cold light quickly magnified in Apu's eyes. When life and death were at stake, he tried his best to avoid it, at the cost of his only remaining arm. NOU's slashing attack is still faster. In a flash, Kurosawa was already in front of Apu. Spare my life, I will do anything. Under the latter's fearful gaze, his vision was spinning. Apu's head even flew out of the smoke-covered area, drawing a beautiful parabola in the air before landing with a thump. This scene happened to be seen by Miguel, who arrived just in time. Damn it, boss. You can do it alone. Mr. Apu, we are here. Just hold on. Without even a moment of mourning for Apu's death, someone who immediately rushed to the scene was an unknown pirate passerby. At the same time, in an auction in Area 1, several people who will shock the world in the future gathered together. Congratulations to Mr. Charles Saint for buying the mermaid for 500 million belly. Chapter 18 Fufu's Bounty Value, is he a Superman? Miguel looked at Kurosawa in shock. Even though he already knew that Kurosawa was very strong now, he never expected that Kurosawa could be so strong. Seeing Kurosawa walking out of the smoke and dust unscathed, all Apu's efforts could not even stain the white cloak of justice with a speck of dust. Miguel couldn't help but open his mouth. He actually killed the pirate by himself, and even escaped unharmed. That's a supernova. If it were a fire-burning Yamanaka, would he be able to achieve this level? Stop being in a daze, come to life. Kurosawa's reminder brought Miguel back to reality. Okay boss. You've worked hard, leave these guys to me. Chang. Miguel pulled out his saber and stood in front of the rushing pirates alone. Due to the obstruction of sight, Apu's men did not realize that their captain had gone west at this time. Rewards, Armed Color Hockey, LV1, Kendo, LV1, have been distributed. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the first kill of a pirate with a bounty of over 100 million. The additional reward is a bounty worth 10,000 points. Listening to the sound of bounties being paid continuously, Kurosawa felt extremely happy inside. Normal reward value, 7,400. Billion level bounty value, 29,800 points. Looking at the balance of the bounty value, Kurosawa has never felt so rich. This ultimate bubble bath is really worth it. After working hard for so long, it's time to reap the fruits of my persistence and hard work. Kurosawa smiled slightly and opened the system panel. He saw so many skills finally locking on the target. System, give me more. Ding! Congratulations to host for injecting 3,000 points of normal bounty value. The spell is reversed and he is upgraded to LV2. Ding! Congratulations to host for injecting 3,000 points of normal bounty value. The natural fighter has been upgraded to LV2. The normal bounty value is still 1,400, and no skills can be added. After thinking for a while, Kurosawa decided not to use the billion level bounty value to inject it into ordinary skills. Ding! Congratulations to host for injecting 1,000 billion level bounty value. Heaven-defying 6 Eyes upgraded to LV3. Continue. Ding! Congratulations to host for injecting 1 trillion level bounty value. Spell reversal, he upgraded to LV3. As the most powerful output method at present, the upgrade order of reversal he is naturally at the forefront. Before NOU's technique and solution evolved into a slash that cut off the world, its power was still a bit weak. Gone. It's gone now. Normal reward value, 1,400. Billion level bounty value, 9,800 points. Why is this Apu so useless? He is only 200 short of being able to upgrade his natural fighter to LV3. Being able to perfectly combine and use all skills of the same level, the natural fighter's blessing to Kurosawa's combat power is self-evident. Boss, just watch my performance. After Miguel finished speaking, he raised his knife and charged forward with a shave. Kurosawa, who had finished adding points, did not take any action. It was a one-to-many melee. I believe Miguel can absorb a lot of experience from it. The war on the top is about to begin, and training then will all rely on breakthroughs before the battle. In order to better allow the pirates to surround Miguel, while no one was watching, Kurosawa formed a ball and twisted Apu's body into a ball, and then kicked him into the garbage. It seems, we have to hurry up to get more bounties. The lieutenant general of the top war company was killed like a dog. With his current strength, he is probably not much better and can barely protect himself. Pirates with a bounty of over 100 million are hard to find, but there happens to be a gang of extremely evil people on this island right now. Kurosawa smiled slightly, he couldn't wait for Luffy to make a big fuss. The movement at that time will attract all the extremely evil times. As for why not arrest them directly, sorry, I really don't know the way. Who reads so many comics and memorizes them? Besides, remembering is one thing, coming here is another. There is no bad map navigation here. Turning to Miguel's battle. At this time, Miguel had only rushed out for a minute, but he was already covered in paint. It has to be said that to be able to stand out and become a supernova in the first half of the Grand Line, he is a small fish with some strength, at least not as threatening as an ordinary shrimp. After Miguel killed nearly 10 pirates by surprise at the beginning, he was surrounded and then attacked in turns in a rhythmic manner. Rao is an outstanding student in the training camp like Miguel, but he also feels tremendous pressure. If he hadn't mastered the iron block, Miguel might have suffered more than just a loss. Why is Mr. Apu missing? Damn Marine. Tell me where Mr. Apu is. Otherwise I will cut you in half. Miguel couldn't stop so many people, and some pirates rushed towards Kurosawa, who just stood there. Seeing that they were ignored like this, the furious pirates slashed at Kurosawa with their knives, but the blade stopped only a few centimeters away from Kurosawa and could no longer fall. What is this? Is this guy also an esper like Mr. Apu? While the pirates were shocked, Kurosawa's attention was not here. His keen sense made him realize that there seemed to be quite a commotion happening on the island. Boom! A violent roar came from elsewhere, followed by several equally violent explosions. When everyone didn't understand why, Kurosawa followed the sound and went. The place where the explosion came from was Area 1. If he remembered correctly, there should be an auction there. Could it be? Blah blah blah. Kurosawa's portable phone rang, ignoring the blade that was slashing at him. Kurosawa answered the phone as if nothing had happened. Kurosawa. Where are you now? Pirates from the auction party in Area 1 attacked the Celestial Dragons. Go quickly to support. Hearing this, Kurosawa curled up his lips and said, come to life. With a swipe of his finger, the heads of the pirates surrounding Kurosawa flew up. Under the protection of unlimited spells, the blood spurted out could not even splash on Kurosawa's body. Miguel! Kurosawa shouted, jumped up into the sky, raised his hand and pointed around Miguel. The technique turns to Tsang. The terrifying blue ball swept across a circle and directly rolled up all the pirates surrounding Miguel into a ball. Done. Boss! Miguel couldn't help but exclaimed, and he cleared the field with one move. Even though he had seen it before, he still couldn't help but feel shocked. Kurosawa, are you ready? Miguel, what are you ready for? Kurosawa, fly. Miguel, question mark. Kurosawa smiled, then raised his hand to control Tsang's strength and directly sucked Miguel into his hand. Then his face changed. Oops. This guy is quite heavy. If he only relied on the physical blessing brought by level 1 physical skills, he would really have to spend a lot of effort to bring Miguel there. Fortunately, with Tsang's suction power, it was relatively easy, but I still had to find opportunities to improve my physical skills. Boss, what are you doing? Looking at himself hanging in the air, Miguel couldn't help but wonder, by the way, boss, I just wanted to ask. Is this moonwalk? Why is your moonwalk so fast? Kurosawa, stop talking nonsense and let's go. Whoa! Under everyone's confused gaze, Kurosawa carried Miguel and flew high in the sky. Mom! He can fly. Is he Superman? Chapter 19 Killing Urki, an unexpected person arrives. Holy Land Marie Joya. After listening to the report, Warring States looked ugly and held his forehead. Is it that kid again? He keeps getting into trouble, what's going on with that family? Annoying the Tianlong people meant that they had to send out generals again. General-level combat power was wasted on this kind of thing, and the Warring States period also felt helpless. The officer on the side replied, according to information, in addition to Straw Hat Luffy, there are also more than 5 pirates with bounties worth over 100 million, including Eustace Kid and Trafalgar Law, at the scene. After listening to the report, Porcelino, who was sitting aside, took a leisurely sip of tea. Yo anyway, we can't do something like the attack on World Noble without taking action, right? Mr. Sengoku. When Sengoku heard the voice, he turned around in disbelief and looked at Porcellino, who was standing up. Could it be that this guy who has always only known how to clock in and get off work at a certain time, who always thinks about asking for leave when he has nothing to do on weekdays, has finally enlightened himself today? Warring States felt excited in his heart. Great, at this point, Porcellino can finally take on the responsibility. Porcellino, just let me go. I'll be back soon. Don't worry. Without doubting his presence, the Warring States period immediately approved it. Porcellino smiled mysteriously, and then slowly walked out of the door. The junction of Area 2 and Area 1. Kurosawa and Miguel flew quickly, and with the blessing of the heaven-defying Six Eyes upgraded to LV3, they were able to fly in the air for a long time. There are actually pirates who dare to attack the Tianlong people. What do you think, boss? While Miguel was amazed, he suddenly saw a huge boulder coming towards them. Boss, be careful. Without Miguel's reminder, Kurosawa carried Miguel and disappeared in the air with a whoosh. On the ground in the distance, a figure that looks like a small giant maintains the posture of throwing boulders, and there are white wings behind it. Ulki laughed. Did this flying sailor actually get out of the way? This is the first time I've seen a flying marine. It's really different near the marine headquarters. Miguel, who fell back to the ground, saw their attacker clearly, and his expression became extremely solemn for a moment. This guy is the pirate with a bounty of 180 million Baileys, Monk Ergi. He is also a supernova known as the Evil Generation. Boss and eldest. Miguel swallowed the word heart in his stomach, and just about to remind Kurosawa, Miguel immediately felt that he was worrying too much. Kurosawa was the man who just killed Skulac Apu without any injuries. That guy's bounty is 1,800,000 Baileys higher than Monk Erki's. Kurosawa didn't say a word, but walked towards Erki silently, with a gloomy expression on his face. I finally tried to show off, but was interrupted by this idiot. Are people in this pirate world so sick? The Marine General doesn't run away anymore, so he still has the leisure to take action against a small Marine like him? But the bounty is 180 million Baileys, but it was delivered to your door yourself. Kurosawa smiled slightly and chose to forgive Erki generously. What did you say? You look young, but your tone is quite serious. Look at what you mean. Do you still want to arrest me, Sergeant? Erki laughed, obviously not taking Kurosawa seriously. But this is normal. After all, as a pirate with a bounty of nearly 200 million, he has killed countless Marine sergeants. How could Kurosawa be regarded as a rival? Kurosawa didn't answer, just looked at the guy in front of him coldly. He would not let go of this walking bounty worth 18,000 points no matter what. What kind of causal reaction does this guy's ability seem to have? Kurosawa couldn't remember clearly, but he remembered that he would become stronger after receiving damage, and this guy looked rough and thick-skinned. Even a thin-looking supernova like Apu could resist being beaten so much. I'm afraid this guy was even more outrageous. Luffy is still waiting for me to arrest him, so we can't waste too much time here. Thinking of this, Kurosawa stretched out a finger, and the reversal he, which was upgraded to level 3, suddenly lit up with a shining red light, and a huge amount of spell power surged across the field instantly. Seeing this, Kurosawa's heart moved slightly. This upgraded power seems to have a very good effect. The red light gradually shone. Erki smiled, raised his fist and rushed towards Kurosawa. Boy, no one is stupid enough to stand still and wait for you to take action. Before he finished speaking, the red ball of light flashed out, so fast that even a supernova like Erki had no time to react. In the blink of an eye, he had already entered Erki's body. The next second, Ulki's pupils widened, and the dazzling red light directly engulfed his mountain-like body, and an extremely violent roar resounded throughout the audience. Boom! The strong wind swept, the earth trembled. The howling wind even blew Miguel behind Kurosawa back a few steps. However, Kurosawa himself had unlimited magic defense and was not affected in any way. This Is this the move that defeated General Yamanaka in one move? Miguel looked at the sweeping wind in surprise from the gap in his palm. After being knocked unconscious by Kurosawa in the training camp that day, he had not yet experienced the power of the reversal he technique. Now it seems that Yamanaka, who is on fire to meet this blow, will be worthy of being a real man. It's a pity that all the beard is burnt. The raging smoke and dust wind did not block Kurosawa's sight. Through the observation of heaven-defying six eyes, he could clearly see Urki lying on the ground gasping for breath, his bloody chest and messy breath. He looked like he was seriously injured. The power of level 3 reversal he spell has already exceeded the maximum output of the instant cast, and it still has the 50% improvement brought by the natural fighter, and the speed is much faster. According to Kurosawa's estimation, even the lieutenant generals in the headquarters would not be able to escape when faced with the current he. At least Hua Xiaoshan can't. Just when Kurosawa was about to make a last-ditch attack, within the perception range of heaven-defying six eyes, a figure with a slightly familiar aura quietly approached. Ding! The current situation of the host has been detected, and a new life choice has appeared. Life choice 1, being extremely confident in your own strength, you immediately kill Ulki, and at the same time kill Basil Hawkins who is coming. Reward, the sword level is increased to LV2. Life choice 2, you feel that you are not sure, so choose to let Urki go, and turn around to kill Basil Hawkins who is coming. Reward, fighting instinct, LV1. Life choice 3, you feel that now is not the time to show your strength, so choose to retreat. Reward, reduce the prestige level to LV1 and gain the system's underscore. Looking at the last choice, Kurosawa just said hehe, is there any need to choose? Chapter 21 of the Supernovas, Hawkins. As for the skill, Fighting Instinct, it is a bit interesting. Its effect is that it can automatically fight back when encountering danger after losing consciousness, including coma, becoming mentally retarded, etc. However, this skill is not very practical in Kurosawa's opinion. He's so systematic and yet he's beaten unconscious? He might as well stop playing. Kurosawa raised his hand and scratched Urki's neck. Technique explanation. The extremely sharp slash directly cut off the neck of Urki, who was unable to resist. Your Excellency, please wait. Hawkins's voice came from a distance, but it was too late. Looking at Urki's head rolling down, Hawkins's eyes were full of doubts. That shouldn't be the case. I saw Urki's face today, and it doesn't look like he's dead. Kurosawa's eyes fell on Hawkins, and his heaven-defying six eyes felt the thick and strange aura emanating from the other person. At this moment, Kurosawa suddenly understood where that familiar feeling came from. Yes, if I remember correctly, what Hawkins ate should be the paramecia straw fruit. However, although the scarecrow he created can bear damage for the main body, it is just a substitute technique after all. Moreover, this substitution technique is not invincible. Once all the scarecrows are eliminated, the main body will suffer a fatal blow. From this point of view, the weakness of this fruit is still very obvious, and it only needs to be crushed. Thinking of this, Kurosawa smiled confidently. Hawkins's face had become extremely solemn at this time. Since his debut, his fortune-telling has never made any mistakes. But why not today? Give me a moment. Putting aside these words, Hawkins ignored Kurosawa and started divination directly on the spot. The chance of escaping is 36%, the chance of losing the battle is 87%. The pirates under Hawkins were obviously not as calm as him. Who is that Marine? He actually cut off the head of that weird monk Urki. Could it be that he is General Marine? You are a stupid pig. You didn't see that guy's shoulder badge. He's obviously just Sergeant Shao. How is it possible? A mere sergeant can kill Ulki? Miguel had just recovered from the shock, and when he saw the person clearly, his expression became tense immediately. This guy is also one of the supernovas of the extremely evil era. Basil Hawkins. The bounty is 249 million Baileys. There is very little information about him in the intelligence. Ho! Kurosawa's eyes lit up when he heard this. Such a high bounty. Miguel looked solemn and assumed a fighting posture, why are you so unlucky today? I encountered 3 supernovas alone. Bad luck? No. Kurosawa has heard the echoes of wealth. Looking at Hawkins, who was still doing divination, Kurosawa couldn't help but sigh. As expected, he is a guy who can do divination calmly in front of General Marine. He is so calm. If he likes divination so much. Kurosawa raised his palm and began to form seals. Phase, jackfruit, pillar of light. Buzz. The continuously condensing spell power even started to tremble on the ground. Miguel on the side was even frightened by the condensed power and his hair stood up. Really or not? Why do you feel that this move by the boss is more terrifying than the one before? The red light from Kurosawa's spell was like a second sun, illuminating the entire square. Hawkins' men were already in chaos, anxiously urging Hawkins to run away as soon as possible. Boss, why don't you run away? You will die. However, Hawkins didn't seem to hear it, because he had already calculated that he would not die today. Even though he had made some small mistakes just now, he was still extremely confident in the results of his divination. Hawkins, it's okay, I won't die. After finishing speaking, Hawkins looked at Kurosawa. Although his cold black pupils were already occupied by red light, he still smiled slightly and said, "The power used by this marine is quite similar to mine." Buzz. The full power of the spell reversal he has been formed. Facing a person with abilities like Hawkins, the best solution is to kill all his substitutes with one blow. Kurosawa smiled. Spell reversal H. Buzz. With a flash of red light, the building where Hawkins was instantly submerged. If Kurosawa hadn't been protecting him, Miguel would have been blown away by the strong wind caused by the explosion. Hey, boss, the power of your move is too amazing. I'm afraid it can't even destroy a warship. Seeing the explosion caused by Kurosawa, Miguel's eyelids couldn't stop beating. His eyes widened and his face was full of shock. The glass of the buildings around the square was shattered, and the tall building was blown up along with the buildings behind it, raising dust all over the sky. The once bustling streets have now become ruins and the ground is in a mess. And the group of pirates was even more miserable. Their bodies were blown to pieces, and their blood stained the ground red, like a terrible nightmare. Kurosawa said nothing and disappeared from the spot. The next moment, Kurosawa's figure appeared silently among the ruins. Looking at the safe and sound Hawkins in front of him, Kurosawa had a playful expression on his face. Your ability is really interesting. At this moment, Hawkins was no longer as calm as before. The sweat on his forehead showed this, but he still pretended to be calm. There is an inexplicable familiarity between your and my abilities. I thought we would become good partners. Kurosawa, haha, why do you deserve to be my partner? Hawkins. Kurosawa, all the men you brought are dead. I'm curious, how many lives do you have left now? Seeing the smile on Kurosawa's face, Hawkins' heart couldn't help but beat wildly. Kurosawa just acted without martial ethics and wiped out all his substitutes in one fell swoop. Now he has no substitutes. In other words, as long as Kurosawa kills him again, he will really die. No, calm down. I wish I didn't have a dead look today. After a moment of silence, Hawkins's face suddenly became extremely ferocious. The appearance of subduing the devil. Since the substitute has withstood the damage, Hawkins is now at full status, and Kurosawa has just released the complete spell Reverse He. Although it is not the maximum output, it cannot be used again in a short period of time. Is this the oppressive feeling of having a bounty of 249 million Bailey? Looking at the scarecrow in front of him, Kurosawa's face showed a hint of excitement. He flipped his palm gently, and a dark pattern blade shining with mysterious light appeared in his hand. The blade is completely black, and the blade is covered with mysterious dark patterns that look like hellfire. It seems to contain endless power and secrets. The blade is extremely sharp and shines with a cold light, making people shudder. Ding! Congratulations to the host for using the supreme sword level weapon for the first time. Reward, Idao Style, Tsang Yida, LV1. You are listening to it in Eugene Light Novels.